Okay, welcome to the weekly podcast. I'm Andy.
I'm Mark.
This is a very special podcast, I would think.
Yes, it is.
We've obviously got a lot to cover.
Yep.
This time last week we knew little. Now we know
everything.
Yes. So we're probably not going to get to cover everything.
Yeah, that's true.
But we'll give it a go.
Yeah. So because we've got a lot to get through, we're just going to be we're going to try and get through everything a little bit quicker than usual. So intro. And back to what we were talking about. So
yeah, good intro. We'll start off as we usually do. What games we're playing this week?
Yes.
We have been playing. Well, I've not been playing a lot of games because I've been busy typing furiously.
Yep. And I've been playing. I actually beat Fire Emblem. I actually finally beat it. It only took me 8 years.
Sacred Stones.
Sacred Stones, yeah. Not anything recent. But yeah, it's only taken me 8 years to do it, but I finally did it. It took me three chances to try and beat the final boss. And it turned out that I was only one level away when I stopped playing it previously. I was only one level away from beating the game, but to be honest, there was not a chance on earth that I was going to beat that level because I was just winging it. I was looking it out, essentially.
Well, when you were younger, you didn't really know how to play Fire Emblem. So
no, I didn't know how to play Fire Emblem. I just went, oh, you're an X-Man, yeah, why not? He can't fail.
You are like the only person I've ever known to actually look their way through Fire Emblem, really.
Yeah.
Because I sit there and do algebra to figure out how to play Fire Emblem.
Oh yeah, I do as well. Well, that's the thing, on the final boss I was like, because when it comes to final bosses, their life meter is so big that you just have to sort of do maths, essentially. Like, this person will hurt by this, and this person will hurt by that, and you have to figure it out. But anyway, so I beat that, finally. Mm-hmm. Hooray for me. And, what else? Yes, I've started playing Kid Icarus, and there's probably a lot of stories behind that, but to be honest, I don't want to talk about it too much because we've got a lot to talk about this time, so I'll probably just say, I'm playing Kid Icarus, it's good.
Kid Icarus Uprising.
Kid Icarus Uprising, yeah.
Well, you've only just started that, actually.
It's been on my shelf for ages. It's one of those games that I need to play.
Mm.
And you know what I was talking about a couple of weeks ago, the urge to play all the games? One of the urges has taken the form of Metroid Prime 3 for the Wii, randomly. It's an awesome game and I really want to play it again, but there's other things to do, unfortunately.
The backlog's just getting too big for me.
Mm.
So
right, so other than that, in terms of games I'm playing, I have given up on Monster Hunter 3.
Mm.
Oh.
Groundbreaking news.
It is groundbreaking news. I've given up on it because, quite frankly, I just find it repetitive. It's a really good game, or is it? I don't know. It's hard. I don't like saying it's an awesome game, because if it was an awesome game, I'd probably continue playing it. But to me, I just sort of find it very repetitive, very tiresome, very tedious.
I think to stick up for Monster Hunter, I think it's an acquired taste, but it is very repetitive. I think no one can say that it isn't.
Yeah.
You are essentially doing the same thing over and over. I suppose it's the addictive nature of sort of getting your resources so you can upgrade your armour so you can fight harder monsters, la-di-da.
Yeah, but
I think... No.
I don't have the patience for it. That's the point. And I have a lot of patience when it comes to games. I do. Alright, I get frustrated and I get angry sometimes when I'm playing a game, but who doesn't? But at the same time...
you completed Red Steel.
Yeah, I completed Red Steel. I've got patience, bro.
I haven't done that.
Yeah. And you're debating, you're up in the air whether or not to pack it in.
To pack in Monster Hunter?
Mm.
Well, yeah, because I don't really have the time for it, and it's one of those games where you need at least an hour to play. And I've fought that monster with the big rock on his tail twice and lost now, and that's 50 minutes of my life times 2 that I'll never get back, and I don't think I can do it a third time. You just hack at him for years. I have got him limping, but you just hack at him forever, and it's boring, really.
But it's just the fact that you need better armour, you need a better weapons.
I think I've already got upgraded everything to the maximum that it can. The upgrade I need to get for my dual blades, I need something from this monster. So I'm supposed to be able to beat it. I just can't. Just take forever. It's just hacking at it forever, and it's just boring now. And it's like, I've got other games to play. I'm playing Fire Emblem Awakening, obviously.
Mm,
And that's just more interesting
Yeah, and
than Monster Hunter.
that's another thing though, as I said to you. Monster Hunter, because it's one of those games that is like sort of repetitive, and I'm not saying it's boring, but I find it sometimes boring. I don't have an incentive to pick it up and play. When I'm playing it, I'm like, yeah, this is alright, but I don't... When I see it, I go, I can play Monster Hunter, or I can play this, and I just go, well, I'll play this. I
Yeah.
don't want to play Monster
Well, at
Hunter.
the moment, I usually play a home console game and a
Portable.
handheld game
Yeah.
simultaneously. That's kind of my limit. I can't do much more. And at the
same.
moment, mine is pretty much Monster Hunter and Fire Emblem. And Fire Emblem is just winning every time. Every time I think, what am I going to play? Fire Emblem Awakening. It's
Well,
just
that was the same
easy
as me.
victory, really.
That's the same as me, and I haven't played Monster Hunter since we started doing the podcast.
I think mine probably roughly the same.
So for about a month, I haven't played Monster Hunter.
I'm just bored of fighting that monster and I'm fed up with him, really.
But as I was about to say, the game, because of that attitude, because it sort of says, because you sort of choose other games over it,
Mm.
you don't really play it, you don't really complete it, and it's stopping me from playing other games.
Well, can you complete Monster Hunter? I presume you can.
I think you can, yeah. There's like
Like,
a limit
finish
to
the
the
quest. See, I think a lot of people enjoy Monster Hunter because of the online, and I suppose if you get a bunch of mates together and play online, then it's quite good.
Yeah.
But I've not actually done that yet because I haven't been playing at a time when everyone is, and it's not like I've got no offers. I have plenty, but I just never am actually playing at the same time as them because usually it's like Sunday at 10, just before I swan off to bed, basically.
Mm.
And to be honest, I don't even do that anymore. And plus, now I've got Animal Crossing,
Mm.
which technically I'm playing, doesn't really count as a game, I would say. But
Oh.
no, I mean, like I said before, I've got one handheld on the go. It's not like it's integral. It's one of those games that you'll just play on top of all the other games, won't you? Really.
Mm.
But now I've got that, I'm just no time for Monster Hunter at all.
Yeah.
Because I've played it once. I've set up my town and that, got a house or a tent, and that's pretty much it. I won the bug off though
Hooray.
with 54 points. Saw a few people on Twitter yesterday. I came second and I got 111 points. I was like, well, I apparently have rubbish residents who can't catch a bug to save their life because I won with 54 points. I wonder if all the residents are the same in each town because I've got a dog, a cat, and
I don't
a
think they
thing.
A what?
A thing. I don't know what it is.
I think.
It's called Stitches and it's like a quilt animal. I don't know. It's bizarre.
Okay.
It's like a threadbare sort of thing.
Oh, that's kind of cute.
I don't know what it is though.
Oh.
Maybe it is a bear. I've got a dog and a cat, so it probably isn't a dog and a cat.
I'll be getting Animal Crossing soon.
Hmm.
But shall we move on?
Well, I don't think I've not played anything other than Fire Emblem Awakening, and I haven't even played much of that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, we'll move on. So, okay. First news. Let's start with the most important and most integral news of the entire week. Mario Golf has been delayed.
This is bad news. Actually, for me, it is bad news. I actually was going to buy that possibly day one.
This is the most devastating news.
I love Mario Golf on the GameCube. That's the only real Mario Golf game I've ever played,
Toes to the top.
and I love it. And the fact that I saw the trailer to Mario Golf World Tour,
the 3D
and
song.
it looks like the GameCube
It looks like
version,
the GameCube,
I'm
yeah.
just sold immediately. Like, everything about it is perfect. Like,
Even
the way the
sounds.
characters celebrate, the sound when the ball goes into the hole, like,
yeah.
dunk, it's like, give me that game now, just give it me now. And now it's like, it's not just a slight delay either, it's just 2014. It could be any time in 2014. It's like, what is
It could be
this?
Christmas 2014.
Devastating news. And they just snuck it out as well.
Yeah, they just sort
They
of...
don't even announce it. They just snuck it out in like an analyst meeting.
Yeah, so they were like mumbling, and then,
Yeah.
oh yeah, by the way, Mario Golf has been delayed. Anyway, let's
It's
go on
just
to
on a
other things.
slide. I mean, I was hoping that maybe the slide was wrong, but no, apparently not. It was just
What's that? Delayed means brought
But
forward?
they showed it at the last Nintendo Direct, didn't they?
Yeah.
And that was just...
I was just bombarded.
Yeah, there was too many games in that one. But I was just... Mario Golf was a definite must-get along with Mario and Luigi
Dream Team.
Dream Team, which will now be the summer DS game on its own, really.
Yeah.
I mean, not that the 3DS hasn't got any games coming out though. Maybe it is. Maybe I don't know. Maybe they're fixing the online stuff for it, or maybe they're just saying we have too many games coming out in 2013. We need to like leave things for 2014.
Well, okay. Let's go on to the proper thing we were going to talk about first.
Which is
Xbox's conference or Microsoft's.
well, the conferences. Well, should we start with Microsoft?
We'll go through the conferences, going through each one individually. We'll start with Microsoft's. And we'll go on to Sony, and then we'll go on to Nintendo. We'll go in the order that they appeared.
I mean, it does this a lot every year, but this year was frustrating because they did Microsoft's. Well, in the UK it was about 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And Sony's was at 2 a.m.
2 a.m.
Literally hours later. I couldn't just like having a day. It must be the worst. I mean, he's just like, oh, here's Microsoft. Let's try and cover everything they've done. Oh, by the way, here's Sony. I just wish they'd sort of have a day each.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The way I see it is, there's 3 days of E3. That's a conference each day. You know. Now I know what you're saying. It's like if you're the last person to have the conference, then you're the one with the worst luck because you'll be seeing your announcements last, and all these amazing games that are playable on the show floor. People have already played them. They've already had 2 days to do that.
Exactly, you have to really announce it. That's why they do it, obviously. But it's just very, very fast paced. It all just happens. I wish they'd not do it all at once. At least Nintendo gave a gap. There's like a day between. But
yeah,
Xbox's conference actually pretty good, I thought.
Yes. Good in the sense that it destroyed their previous
attempts. Their past 3 E3s have been terrible.
Pretty much ever since the release of the Kinect. Since the release of the Kinect.
I've
Xbox
got nothing against the
terrible.
Kinect. It's like, yeah, it's Kinect. It's not something I want, but I've nothing against it. There probably are some good games on it. Yeah, there's some terrible games on it, but there's terrible games on everything. So I've not really got a problem with Kinect, but the fact that they've been banging on about it every E3, it's boring for me. I don't care. It's either that or watch Netflix. I know I can watch Netflix. You don't have to tell me. But they seem to just bang this drum. But at least this year, they came out and just said, here's some games.
Here's some games.
And that was it, really. No Usher concert. None of this. It was just, here's some games, which was great.
Yeah. And we got a lot of games thrown our way.
Well, what did we have for Xboxes? We had Metal Gear was showing up.
Metal Gear was the first one
which looked really good.
That's the thing, though. You see, our sort of cynical look at the Xbox reveal trailer when it was just like, the games look no different from the way they are on the 360. But Metal Gear
does.
It really was.
It was probably a good one to start because it really does show that the new hardware does actually make a difference. It
does actually make a difference. At the same time, though, that's a multi-format game.
Yeah.
And we're getting into the negatives a bit quick, I know, but in terms of graphical prowess and other things for the console, it kind of went a little downhill from there.
Well, yeah, I didn't see anything else at my Xbox's conference.
I mean, in terms of graphics, Metal Gear blew me away. Cause I was like,
yeah, they were really
whoa.
Good. You just saw the landscape. It was just, you could see all the way to miles, really.
And it wasn't just that, but I remember this. I remember the shot where Snake is crawling on the ground. His movements are humanistic. He's not just back to the PlayStation days of move your arms and your legs. Yeah. His movements are realistic, and the way the ground sort of moved with him, and the way the light shone on him, it was all brilliant to look at. But as I say, there was nothing from that point. That was like, they opened with that. It was a strong number to open with, but then from there, the graphics just sort of.
Well, they weren't as noticeable. It's not that they were bad, it's just that they look 360 to me. They don't. If you put two together, I'll probably notice, but as a face value, they just look as good as 360. I don't see any major difference. And what else did they show at Xbox? Games-wise?
Killer Instinct. We'll get onto that in a minute. We'll go into that later.
Killer Instinct is a despair. We'll go on.
Yeah. What else was there? There was Forza, where they decided to pull an Oprah and have a car on stage.
Yeah, what was that all about?
There's only two of these in the world, and we've got one.
Yeah,
Great.
I don't know. That was Forza.
Great.
What else did they show?
Um.
Was there any actual exclusive games that they showed off?
Oh yeah, there were loads of exclusives.
There
There was
was that-
Titanfall.
Titanfall.
There was that Quantum Break.
Yeah. What was the one with the dragons?
Oh, that had
The one
no
where the
audio.
sound wasn't on.
I don't know. Was it called Crimson Dragon?
I'm not sure.
Or was that the studio behind
Wasn't that interesting.
Even with the sound, I wouldn't have been that interesting.
Wasn't
to be
that
honest.
Are there any more exclusives? I think Titanfall probably does give the main one.
There was Halo 5.
Oh, well, or Halo, as they're
Yeah, it's just called Halo.
Bizarre trailer. Just, why is Master Chief wearing a cape?
It was the stupidest way of having a secret reveal.
Yeah, it was like, who is this man?
It's like a character with wings wearing a cape all the time, and then at the end just like throwing off his cape. Oh my god, he's got wings! It's just like, wouldn't he just be more comfortable without the cape? He's only wearing the cape to hide his wings for no reason.
I
Something
just
like that.
don't. I don't understand. Like, what? He's got a suit.
Yeah, he's
Why
got
does
like a
he
suit
need
of
this
armour.
sort of cape to shield him from, I presume, sand in that situation?
Well, maybe people argue, oh yeah, well, sand can get stuck in the suit and.
Well, that's a rubbish suit then.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, we saw nothing of Halo. We saw a little cinematic saying it's going to come. Well, big surprise.
Yeah, it's going to come out. There you are.
So-
moving on.
They probably should have ended with that because they ended with Titanfall, didn't they?
Yeah, to be honest, that's the way I saw it. Titanfall was a decent game, but they should have ended it on Halo, not Titanfall.
And I was really disappointed in Titanfall because I saw they showed off a cinematic trailer for it, which looked kind of cool, like they were running along the walls and
Oh,
stuff.
and yeah, which also had gameplay footage from the demo, like shot for shot.
Yeah.
It was the guy playing
Yeah.
it. He played bits that were also in the trailer.
So
and
he
it
clearly
was the
wasn't
exact
playing
same
it, was
moment.
he? So he was stage playing it, wasn't he?
He was stage playing, yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of obvious. But the problem with that is, as I was saying, it showed a cinematic trailer, which looked really interesting, and then they showed a bit of gameplay, and it was just another first-person shooter.
Yeah, it looked to me like it was going to be like a third-person Star Wars Battlefront
Sort of like
type
a
thing.
mixed in with Gears of War.
Yeah.
But it was just in the end, it was a first-person shooter. I
It
know
was a
they've got these
first-person.
mechs, but
But he jumps in the mech and it just like uploads the screen, like you see
Yeah.
like the screen come up, and he's still in a first
Still
person shooter. The
first-person
gun is still in the
shooter.
bottom right corner of the screen.
so I lost a lot of interest in that almost instantly.
You're just bigger. It's like Tiny Huge Land from Super Mario 64.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just like Microsoft can't escape first-person shooters. They just have to have 80% of their content is first-person. It's just
There's that Sunset Boulevard as well
oh yes.
from Insomniac Games, but that was a big controversial. It's like Insomniac Games, they're in bed with Sony, but the thing is,
the zombie game.
yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what reminded me, because I was just about to say, even though Microsoft are appealing to their demographic, because their demographic is mostly first-person shooter type guys
Mm.
and zombie guys and all sorts like that, like racer guys. They're appealing to their demographic, but it's something bad when people refer to your games as another something.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's just another zombie game. Oh, it's just another first-person shooter.
Was it Dead Rising they showed off?
Dead
Rising
Yeah,
3.
Dead Rising 3. That was from Capcom, and it wasn't there. It wasn't there.
It's quite a big exclusive. It's not. Is it not exclusive?
I'm pretty sure it's not.
Oh,
If it's I don't think it is exclusive.
I have a feeling.
It doesn't make sense to be exclusive because it's sort of Capcom, and they don't stay loyal to anyone.
It would be a bit strange if it was. And then, of course, there's our old friend Killer Instinct.
Should we get onto that now?
I think we need to just
we need to
It's
address
the-
this. We need to get this out of the way now.
I think this is the sad tale of Rare has officially been given its final chapter, really,
the final nail in the coffin.
because when they went to Microsoft and it was all like, can we make Killer Instinct, and they pretty much said no. Everyone wanted Killer Instinct. They just said no. You can make Viva Pinata.
You can make
And now-
Ghoulies.
It's 2013. Killer Instinct probably isn't that relevant right now anymore. I would say it's too old. It's an old franchise. It's niche now, unfortunately. And they're just going to randomly make a free-to-play game that looks a bit naff. Let's face it. What they showed off on the stage wasn't very good. That the weird sort of acting that woman and that bloke did.
Oh,
Worryingly
God.
bad.
That was awful.
And just, it's free to play, you get a couple of characters, you get, I don't know, a couple of stages, everything else is paid. It's not even being made by Rare properly.
That's the biggest thing to address this world, right? It's not even being made by Rare.
It's made by Double Helix in associate with Rare. In other words, Rare are probably just,
Rare own the rights to its, well, it's their IP.
Well, it's their IP, but it's so sad that Rare were the best developer in the world. And it's the worst sale in video game history.
Well, we were saying this just yesterday about the fact that it's almost infamous that any games company that is either bought or is owned by Microsoft either loses their passion for games and just gives up.
Well, we were talking about Oddworld Industries.
Yeah.
They made Stranger's Wrath, which was a brilliant game, which is coming out again, HD version, which is really good. But they sort of joined up with Microsoft and then just packed it in.
Yeah.
And you sort of got the feeling they were just like, it's not enjoying this anymore. Because it wasn't like they were doing poorly. They were making some pretty good games. But they just packed it in, and now they've made the comeback.
Yeah, that was the big shocker, you see, because at the end of Stranger's Wrath, if you don't know, it gives like a big massive sort of hint that, there's going to be a sequel. Because the main villain, if you can call him that, escapes at the end. And it's sort of like behind the scenes. You think you've killed him, and then he's sort of like in the shadows going, "I escaped."
One of those.
And it's just sort of like, and then you see him running away to like this new world. Like this sun is rising on the horizon, and he's just sort of escaping to it. So it's just sort of like, there's going to be a sequel. It's going to be him chasing after him, and it's like, no, they just went bye. It's like at the rap party, chinging all the champagne glasses, just going, well, this is it, guys.
He just packs it in, didn't he? For no reason, really. And now, at least they come back. But they'll make some damn good games. I mean, just obviously Abe's...
Well, have they come back?
Well, I guess so.
I reckon they've just come back really recently to pretty much revive their old IPs. Whether they're back for good, I don't know.
Hopefully, because they make good games. But, Killer Instinct not being made by Rare 100%. It's, Double Helix are in charge, the team behind such classics as G.I. Joe and Green Lantern.
Yep.
And it just doesn't look very good. And we watched it and just didn't enjoy watching that. It was like, Killer Instinct's back.
Right. That's what gets you. Right? The whole fact that it's not Rare. And do you know what? That gets to me too. But something else cuts deeper. Something else hurts more. It was that smug, smirking, little piece of censored word that came out on stage to announce it, and then had the gall, when the trailer had finished, when the applause had died down, to turn to the crowd and say, "We listened." Those two words hurt so much. I wanted to jump into the screen and punch him in the face.
We listened, after about 11 years.
We listened, yeah. This is why Killer Instinct is an insult. It's an insult because he comes out on stage and goes, "We listened." Well, clearly you didn't, right? You are desperate for exclusive IPs, and this is what you've got, right? So, you've done that. It's insulting to say we listened when you didn't. It's insulting to give a Killer Instinct game after so many years and not even have Rare develop it, to give it to someone else. That's insulting. And that's not just insulting to the fans who really wanted this game, that's insulting to the memory of Rare. Because Rare isn't alive anymore. It's been dead and buried ever since it went to Microsoft. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah. It tried. It got told to make Grab by the Ghoulies, which didn't go very well. Viva Pinata just isn't for me. It's supposed to be a decent enough game. Banjo Nuts and Bolts is best not talked about. And then it's just making Connect games.
Here's the thing. Rare know how to make a game. Right? And, they may be dead. Or they may just be a husk without a soul now. But they know how to make a game. But Microsoft do not know how to use them.
No.
Microsoft go, oh, make this game. Oh, what about? Why do we need Why don't we put Banjo with this? No.
Rare is pretty much a goldmine of IPs as well.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But apparently, Microsoft aren't interested in using any of them.
And that's another thing I said to you yesterday. It's like Timber from Diddy Kong Racing was like their official mascot for a very long while when they first went to Microsoft.
Yeah.
And then just try and find any Diddy Kong Racing characters that they used as like mascots. You know, Timber, Bumper. Did they use Pipsy? Tip Top? Yeah, they probably took Tip Top. They're all gone. They're all dead. They don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Because they are associated with Nintendo, and we can't have that.
Yeah.
And then there was that time when Rare made handheld games for Nintendo, just like literally at the start of the DS's life. Banjo Plane and Diddy Kong Racing remake, and they remade all those things.
I think that loophole.
And Microsoft just closed that loophole as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
They pretty much pulled out a magnum and just kneecapped Rare and just went, you're not going anywhere.
I do feel a bit for Rare.
Because Rare were like going, please, let us make good games. Help! It's like, no, you will stay.
I do feel for them. Because I honestly, when they went to Microsoft, not in my wildest dreams would I think it would turn out so badly for them, and it just... I thought they'd at least be, making some decent titles and still be a prominent name, but now it's unfortunately fallen apart. And it's probably not going to be revived ever, really. It's done.
Yeah.
All the main guys who were there are now gone.
Yeah.
So it's just... Well, it's unfortunate.
Um,
But overall, Microsoft conference, if you don't take anything else into account,
i.e. what happened before and what happened after,
like all the DRM stuff, all the silly Matrix quotes from like if you want to play offline, get a 360, all this. If you take all that out of account and only takes the start of the conference to the end of the conference, Microsoft had a better conference than Sony.
Well, we'll get into Sony in a minute, aren't we?
Well, yes, but I'm just going to say it there. I think Microsoft had a better conference than Sony, even after everything Sony did.
And if you are still listening to this after maybe having a bit of a rage moment, we'll explain why.
I know. It's like, okay, I'm talking about the conferences. Alright, Sony has a better concept, console, everything. Everything that's PlayStation 4 is better than Xbox One.
Yeah.
But I'm talking conferences.
Yeah, talking to conferences.
Microsoft beat it.
Yeah. But there's a few more points I want to go on to Microsoft's conference before I go on to Sony. Because it got 7 out of 10. I rated it 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I would say that's right.
And it got that because of the fact that it was so much better than the previous years. And that they showed off games, which is what people wanted. There was very little filler in there.
There wasn't any
very
filler,
little, oh, we can do this, right?
Yeah.
But here's where it went wrong. Here's where, to me, it went absolutely just stupid. And it wasn't like one definitive moment. It was like all throughout the conference. Firstly, I counted, right? Let me just state that. I counted. I'm sad that way. They had 23 personalities come out on stage to announce these games.
Yeah.
Don Matrix made one appearance. He's the headlining guy. And he made one appearance, and that was it, and it was at the start.
I think Xbox is...
Even Smug Killer Instinct Man came out twice, and he changed his shirt halfway through.
Yeah, he did, actually. I don't like...
Oh, because being on stage must be so hard. I need to change my clothes. I'm so sweaty. To be honest, with all the scrutiny on Microsoft right now, I don't blame you if they're sweating. But yeah, they had 23 guys come out. Rule number one, guys, you don't need 23 people to announce your games.
They do a bit, although I did enjoy that guy who announced World of Tanks.
Oh,
he was brilliant. Have you ever seen a man say the word Xbox 360 more times than him in the time he was on stage? He kept saying it. He just kept saying it.
It's funny.
He kept saying it.
We were watching it like clinging onto the sofa, just sort of like, stop saying Xbox.
He just kept saying it. We're so pleased it's on Xbox. He had the
cutest voice.
Just the best. But Microsoft should sign that man up, and he should do every single conference from now on his own. That man needs to be signed up immediately.
Yeah, the guy who did World of Tanks, which by the way was the second game. To be honest, you open with Metal Gear Solid 5, a game that literally like makes your eyeballs melt with how good it looks, and then you just sort of have this guy come out and just go World of Tanks, yeah, because that was popular online. Now it's on Xbox.
I think they were doing 360s, weren't they, before they got onto the big stuff.
Yeah.
We forgot to mention that Rise game.
Oh, Rise, Son of Rome. Which, when I first saw the first few seconds of the trailer, I was like, is this going to be a God of War?
I'm not a big interest in that one. I don't like games that sort of have cutscenes that take place while you're playing and you don't realise if you're playing or not, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's like... The game starts, it's like you jump out of the boat, it's like, oh, all these soldiers like running around, and then you take like 5 steps, you go into start, and then it's like, oh no, cutscene!
Yeah,
it's just like, what? Why have I had these past 5 seconds, guys? And the reason why you chose this level was to go, oh, look how amazing it is for the E3, isn't it? No, just play the game.
I wasn't overly interested in that one. Plus, it's like all realistic, and I know this is silly to say probably, but in honesty, when you get these super realistic games, and then you start slashing at people, and it does nothing to them.
Yeah, it's
like you'll have to slash a guy like 5 times with your sword. No, you hit him once, he dies. Seriously,
yeah, it's like at the very least
they're not wearing any armor.
At the very most, he'll be able to take 2 hits. You know, the first cut might slow him down, and then the second cut will definitely kill him.
But
not
armor.
5, not 6.
Yeah.
Not like. I mean, you can see it. That these are like the barbarians, are they?
Yeah, well, they're just wearing like a t-shirt.
No, they're not even wearing that. They're wearing like bare fur loins.
Yeah.
And that's it. They're just there, like going, blah, 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 and he's going. It's like, oh right, so suddenly they're Wolverines with adamantium metal inside them.
And this isn't just a thing for that game. It's a lot of games that do that. It's just like, but they act as if it's all realistic, and then you get things like that happen, and it's like odd. I mean, a lot of people are quite interested in that. I personally don't. But,
number 2, the fact that they had 23 personalities, that was annoying. But number 2, they announced all these games, thank you, but they spent too long talking about them. Every game had either an introduction, an outroduction, like where they just had people talk about them, or both. Like, here is our new game. Wasn't that amazing? We're going to be doing this with our game and this with our game, and I was just sort of like,
no,
just move on.
I wasn't really interested.
And it's, to be honest, I'll like get onto Sony later. There's a lot of like contrasting thoughts going on here. But I want to try and keep it as linear as possible. They said all that, and the one that got me the most was Halo. Right? Microsoft, know your franchises. Halo is your biggest. Halo is your biggest franchise that you've got on your system. You don't need someone to come out and talk about it. You just don't. This woman comes out. Nothing against the woman. Don't think I'm like having a go at her. It's just like she comes out and she goes, Halo is like the best thing you're going to play this year. Or next year, whatever. And just like, this is going to be like the best experience you'll ever have because it's the definitive Halo experience. We've evolved combat for the 5th time or whatever, right? And it's just like, we don't need this. You showed off Master Chief's helmet. You've got already people sold.
I was a bit daft. They had a lot of padding.
They had a lot of padding, yeah, admittedly. But another thing that got me frustrated was the fact that they kept mentioning, all these new franchises. Guys, new games does not mean new franchises. You can't just say, Rise is a new franchise now. No, you don't know how the game's going to sell. If the game doesn't sell, it's not going to have sequels. It's that simple. It's not going to become a franchise, no matter how much you want it to be. So they kept on using franchise to describe games. And it's just like, this, Quantum Break is the new franchise exclusively for Xbox. And it's just like, is it a franchise? No, it's one game. BioShock, that's a franchise. Legend of Zelda, that's a franchise.
I think they do like to get a bit carried away, and it was a big event. But obviously they had a lot to prove from all the backlash that they had, and they just, as I think I said last podcast, they'll just stick their fingers in their ears, ignore it, and just show games, and they did.
Yeah.
But there was no surprise there. They weren't going to address anything.
Well, that was one of the reasons why people didn't like the conference, because it was like they didn't address anything.
Yeah, but they never were going to, were they? You know, everyone knew they weren't. And the only thing we got out of them was the whole Matrix saying, you know, if you want to play offline, you know, here's a 360, and it's like, oh, thanks, Don.
And what about the guy who came out and just went, "Oh, we've released a new Xbox 360." Why?
Oh, it looks like an Xbox One.
It's like, it's designed to make it look like an Xbox One, and I'm just thinking.
I think they're thinking, well, if people want to keep their 360s, they might want to get both that look the same. But
I'm sorry, this isn't feng shui, Microsoft. Everything was matte.
Is that available now? It is, isn't it? Did you say it was available?
I think
now?
it's available from the end of the conference. I think it was, but the thing that got me was, you're trying to release a new console. You don't want to start advertising the old one. It's like, well, getting onto Sony later on, but it's like when Sony said there's never been a better time to own a PS3. And it's just sort of like, hang on, there's PS4's coming around the corner. I think there has been a better time to own the PS3, like maybe a few years ago.
Well, it's Sony.
They weren't saying own a PS3, they were saying to get a PS3. And it was just like, hang on, you've got to assume that everyone in the audience already has a PS3.
Well, Sony are really pushing their PS3 now at the moment. And to be fair, it's got a lot of good games coming out for it. And
Sorry, go on.
no, I'm just saying, Sony's conference.
There's just a few more things about Microsoft. I'm not done with Microsoft yet. Give me a minute. But yeah, another thing that got me. Yeah, they did the smart glass.
Oh,
I mean, as soon as I saw him actually, I went, "You're smart glass man," because it was the same man from last year, and I was like, "You're smart glass man." And he came out and he just went, "I can do this by a smart glass, right?" Seriously, let me just put this out right now. No one cares about smart glass. Not one person in the world, except for anyone who works on Microsoft, cares about smart glass. And they even did it in the Dead Rising thing, like, "Oh, look, we're using my smart glass. I can summon a air raid," and he just starts like.
That was bizarre.
And it's just sort of like, why did he run from one side of the town to the other when he could just summon air raids with his phone?
Why can this car mechanic summon air raids? It was very bizarre. I don't know what that's all about.
It's almost like the Tingle Tuna from Wind Waker.
Yeah.
Like, just Tingle appears and starts dropping bombs on stuff.
This guy
But,
yeah, I don't know what's...
It was a bit weird. But I think... I'm pretty sure that's everything I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, Metal Gear.
What?
It looks good, and yet it looks awful. It looks, in terms of visuals, really, really good and amazing. In terms of its storyline, I'm done. Kojima, I'm done. I'm bored of this
I'm not
now.
interested in Metal Gear as I was.
Stop trying to live off the hype of Metal Gear Solid 1.
I was a big Metal Gear fan. And now I'm just not.
I haven't played Metal Gear Solid 4, right? But here's the thing. Metal Gear Solid 1 had Foxhound, right? You hunted them down and you, like, killed them all, right? Then Metal Gear Solid 2 had Dead Cell, a pretty much trying to be Foxhound. Then you had the Cobras, again, trying to be Foxhound. Then there was definitely one in Metal Gear Solid 4, though I haven't played it. I know there is one in Metal Gear Solid 4. There's like a group of freaks and individuals.
Well, they always stick to that theme, don't
they? Yeah, they always stick to that theme, but it's getting stupid now. You may as well have someone who can shoot spoons from his fingertips.
He's a bit daft.
It's so dumb. It's just like Skullface, the man without a past. It's just like...
It's still a big IP, but it's not what it used to be.
Yeah, it's getting dumb now. It's
just getting a bit now.
I'm about to say something quite strong now. It's getting to Heroes level of dumb.
Heroes is in the TV show.
Yeah.
Crikey. That was dumb. But
yeah, pretty much. I think that's everything I want to talk about Microsoft.
So we're going to talk about Sony now then.
Yeah, let's talk about
Sony.
Let's talk about Sony.
Well, Sony's was okay. Everyone's saying Sony has won E3. Their conference was very average in my opinion. Not that it was bad. I just thought it was a decent conference. It never did anything that excelled.
If I had to describe it, I'll give myself 2 words. Right, the first word is standard. Yeah. It was standard for a Sony conference.
Yeah.
It didn't push the envelope, as people were saying. It didn't like put all other E3 conferences ever to shame.
No,
it didn't do that. It most certainly didn't do that. I have seen better conferences than this.
I think people were getting obviously excited because the main part of the conference.
Yeah,
where
let's
they
discuss
basically,
that.
because we might as well just get to it right now.
Yeah,
and this
let's
is what
just
everyone remembers it
cut
for.
to that bit, because that's the bit that
Is
everyone
the
goes on
bit
about.
where good old Jack came out. Jack Tretton came out to his wrestler intro.
Yeah, Jack. Right, just going back for a sec. Jack Tretton has a wrestling intro.
Yeah.
He does. Everyone else, for Microsoft, for Nintendo, they just sort of come out and just sort of like talk about games. No, Jack Tretton, he needs to be announced. He needs to be.
He
needs to be Triple H at WrestleMania.
He comes out with a wrestling belt, like gets some. He sort of stands there, takes all in like the applause, then sort of takes the mic and goes, "I'm telling you, Matrix.
I'm telling you, Matrix.
You want used games? We got them!
Oh my god!" And the crowd's going wild. JR's going, "Oh my god, King! You hear that, King?"
It's just, I just didn't. It's like funny to watch because yeah, Microsoft have made a big error, but for me, Sony's conference was just kick it in an open net. It wasn't hard for them. They were as long as they just came out and did the safest conference of all time, they would beat Microsoft because obviously Microsoft have made an error, and Sony can kick it in the net, and that's all they did. So.
Well, they did it, and then they went about it a little bit off.
But the thing is now, and what annoyed me a little bit, is they came out and said, alright, well, you can play used games. And they start going, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do that. And the weird thing is, it's like, Sony, don't pretend that you like used games.
Yeah.
You don't. You clearly don't. They cost you billions.
Well,
So don't come out here and pretend that you love them just because what your biggest rival is doing the opposite.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I said to you yesterday. I said they didn't say like, they pretty much had to make sure that there was zero confusion on the matter.
Mm.
And so they just said, this is what Microsoft are doing. Now see that, that's what they're doing. We're doing not that. Like, completely, 100%, utterly, we are not doing that. It's like, they say you can't play used games on their console. Well, you can play used games on our console.
They just took it.
They say you can't do this, we can do that. And it's just like, they literally
to check
did
in
the exact
24
opposite.
hours. They just. But it was just bizarre to watch as a general gamer to see a company come out and say, you can play used games, you don't have to check in. It's like, well, great. It's as if Nintendo came out, and it would be the same if Nintendo came out and said, we have a D-pad. It's like, you just sort of think, well, yes, of course you do. So it was just weird for them to say something so blatantly obvious, but this is what it's become now as an industry. We're saying obvious things, and it is getting rapturous applause.
Mm.
But
this is something else though. People have like said they were trash talking Microsoft. They weren't trash talking Microsoft. They were pretty much insinuating. If you knew about the political gaming climate at the time, you know they were talking about Microsoft.
Well,
they
they
never
never
mentioned
said
Microsoft by name.
But everyone knew what they were saying.
Yeah.
But
it was point for point. I mean, some websites even said, oh yeah, they cut them off at every turn. Yeah, almost too perfectly at every turn. Like, they didn't address anything else. They just went, anything Microsoft's doing, we're not doing. Or everything Microsoft is not doing, we're doing. So it was just like, you didn't actually give me any things to go on. Just that you're different from Microsoft. Yay.
Yeah. I mean, the conference itself, I didn't think was as good as Microsoft's.
No, that's
because just the conference itself I'm talking about.
Yeah,
alright, Sony's got a best console, like I said to you before, but in terms of conferences, Sony's wasn't as good as Microsoft's because it just, to be honest, it bored me.
Yeah, that was my second word. You know, I said I got 2 words.
Yeah.
Number 1 was standard, number 2 was boring.
I was bored for a lot of it, and well, we watched it together, and I was just talking to you most of the time. I was bored.
I mean, no disrespect to that Japanese bloke that came out and started talking, but as soon he was on stage for like 5 minutes, and then I was like checking Twitter. I was just scrolling.
I don't know what
Facebook.
he was on about. I actually can't remember what he was talking about.
Exactly, neither can I. I was bored.
There was that guy who came out and spoke about movies for ages. That was
the guy
cool
from
as
like
hell.
Sony. Right, that's another thing.
I think they spoke about Netflix as well. This is just not what anyone wants to hear. I am bored. I just wish they'd stop doing things that people obviously don't care about.
But it's not just that, it's the fact that, right, okay, here's the thing. Way back when, I think it was February, because Trenton kept on referencing February, but he came out and said, look at the controller. Ooh, but you want a console? Ah, it's a secret. You're going to have to wait until E3. Everyone gets really speculative. Oh, what's it? What could it be? What could it be? What could it be? Right? It gets to E3. Thing is, this is your definitive E3, Sony. This is, you are revealing a console, right? This is not your average Sony conference. You're revealing a console. This is the same goes for Nintendo, the same goes for Microsoft. You're revealing a new console, you want to go all out. You want to be big. You want to be massive. You don't want to be tiny or just small. And guess what? They were tiny and small. They went, you want to see the PlayStation 4? Here it is. And they show like this, like 8 second. It's like an 8-second trailer of this camera zooming in on a blurred console with like flashes and glimpses and that. And then it just stops. Like there's no fade out. There's no like big drums going dun dun at the end. It just, music stops, trailer ends, and English bloke is on stage holding it up like
just a box.
Just a box. Very little applause. I think there was a few people clapping.
He was restrained.
But let's analyse what was wrong with that. Firstly, the trailer was just there, so we didn't need it. He could have just gone, here it is. He had a deadpan face. There was not a crack or a crease of a smile.
No.
He was almost like, not even I want to be holding this. But it was just sort of like... And then he goes, let's get the person who designed this italic PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
Hey, random man who looks like average, like the most averagest Joe you could ever see, just standing on stage. He was wearing jeans, sneakers, a shirt tucked in, and it was just sort of like, you are the most average man I've ever seen in my life. And he just goes, so, here's the man who designed it. And he's like, oh, thank you. It's like, you literally just decided to draw a PlayStation 3 in, like, Macromedia Illustrator and just sort of bent it.
Yeah.
And just went, there it is, that's a PlayStation 4. But,
It was a strange console reveal.
it was, yeah, but then they discussed the design of it,
Yeah.
and then move on. They gave it to the guy, and they go, bye, right, see ya. So anyway, on with the conference.
And then just came out with the usual Sony rhetoric of it's the only place where you can blah 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 blah.
That just annoyed me to no end. It was just, he comes out and he shows off the console and it's like, yeah, it's great, isn't it, right? But this is a big console reveal. You don't just come out, show off its design and move on. You've got to go into more than this, guys. Oh, but we did in February. Yeah. So why did you do that in February? To get people hyped for the PlayStation 4. That's why they did it. But it was pointless to keep the PlayStation 4 hidden.
I don't know why.
It was pointless. With the way you revealed it at E3, it was pointless to just go, oh, put a cloak over the top of it. Can't see it. No. It was pointless to do that because when you showed it off, it was just like, well, here it is. 5 months of waiting around. Wasn't it worth it? No, it wasn't.
It really wasn't. But in terms of like, as I was talking about games not looking particularly next gen, the Sony only had one for me that really looked like it was a new game, and that was Destiny.
Yeah.
They showed off at the end, which is the clever, rather in a clever move, picked the one level where it includes a lot of lighting effects, and it looked fantastic. But you can tell why they picked that level to show off. Really, really, really good lighting effects. Overall, I'm not massively hyped for Destiny, but we're still decent enough.
Well, the good points really to take from the Sony conference was the coverage of the PlayStation 3 and the games that are left on that before it finishes, because I think we've already discussed this.
Although
PlayStation 3 has a good lineup before it goes.
Yeah, so they mentioned The Last of Us. Looks really good.
Beyond.
Beyond, which I've got to be honest, I'm less interested now after seeing it.
Yeah, the trailer for this one was like imagine the most opposite trailer you could,
Yeah.
and that was it.
I
It
was
like
really
they
interested
looked
last year.
backwards.
Last year they showed that really interesting
It was dark,
trailer.
it was gritty, it was mysterious, and
this
one
one
was
felt
just
like Splinter Cell
Yeah,
to
it
me.
was almost like Splinter Cell.
I was like, what's going on here? They've signed up the polar bear from the Birds advert to play alongside Ellen Page, which is good. But what? It just looked like a typical third-person-y shooter now. I don't know. I had the feeling it was going to be sort of Heavy Rain, only toned down a bit with all the whole do everything.
Do everything, literally. It's
But-
just like you are the controller. Yeah, you
But
literally are.
But now it appears to just be a third-person shooter.
Mm.
Kind of like the way Splinter Cell's gone. I don't know. Well, there could be more to that, but I'm not as interested as I was. Still looks good. There's other games. Is Infamous one of them? Infamous 2?
Yeah, Infamous. No, Infamous 2. It was Infamous Second Son.
Second Son.
It was like a spin-off. Not part of the main canon.
Not interested. To be honest. Gran Turismo 6 was shown. But to be honest, of all the games Sony showed, the most interesting one was Octodad.
Who's the man with the three-piece suit?
Seriously?
It seriously is.
Seriously? The best game I saw at Sony's conference was Octodad.
It actually
They didn't
was.
show anywhere near enough of Octodad. There isn't... People who don't know, it's an octopus. It dresses up as a human, and people don't seem to realise. And it moves around in this bizarre way.
Yeah, you don't... From what I've been told, at least, or from what I've seen, you don't control him via control sticks. Or you only control the direction he's supposed to be going via the control stick. You control each of his 8 limbs, or like one of his... you only control, I think, 4 of his limbs.
Yeah.
Via the shoulder buttons, but you don't know which one's which. So you press like L2 and his right arm will just go flying up in the air for no reason. And he just walks around in the most... Seriously, Google Octodad. It's just brilliant.
It's the best game I saw at Sony's conference. Easily.
It is.
Easily. Destiny? No. Watch Dogs? No. Octodad? Yes.
Octodad.
Show more of Octodad.
Octodad. No one suspects a thing. It's just brilliant.
Brilliant.
It's the fact that he like walks up to this hat stand in like the most ridiculous fashion ever, knocking everything over as he goes. Because that's the thing. He's like sending everything flying with his arms. And then he just picks up a top hat and puts it on and carries on.
I have no idea what he's supposed to do in that game, but I want it.
Yeah, I want it. It looks like
Anything
a really
else?
fun game.
Not that interested. They showed Watch Dogs. I'll get that on Wii U. I imagine there's nothing about it on other consoles that I'll end up getting.
Yeah.
They showed off Assassin's Creed that broke, and then they just bailed on it.
Yeah. Okay. Just quickly dropping back to Microsoft when Battlefield and stuff broke. Right. Firstly, that annoyed me. Battlefield broke or it had no sound, and the crowd went boo and got really annoyed about it. Bearing in mind this was after we'd seen that Dragon game that had no sound,
Yeah,
so we didn't exactly want this game to break on us. And the crowd's going like that, and then the guy who's on stage just goes, "Quiet, please." I'm just like, well, hang on, sort your thing out. Then you've got the audacity to say, "Quiet, please." If you can't even get that sorted, you don't have a right to have a go at us as fans for getting annoyed.
People in the crowd shouting Xbox off, which is quite funny. I think you've got to give it up.
Xbox off.
Yeah, shouting Xbox off.
Oh, right.
And back onto Sony's is just...
Yeah, but that's what we were talking about when... At least they sort of acknowledged
that it was
broke.
going wrong, yeah.
But Black Flag broke.
It kept freezing and
It kept
stuff.
freezing. It was funny though. If you actually watch the video of the guy playing it, he's like every time it freezes, he's just watching the screen going, guys. He's on stage what's going on? But then when he gets to the second to last bit where it freezes, he just sort of shakes his head like this.
He's not having a good time.
He's just
the thing
no.
is, I don't understand. Sometimes they clearly do this. I think Titanfall was one of them. But they'll get a guy on stage and it looks like he's playing, but he's not. It's a pre-rendered video. Why don't they just do that for everything?
The main thing you've pointed out is, I think the reason why they do it is to give the illusion that it is being played right now.
Yeah.
And to say, look, this is all happening in real time.
Yeah.
But as you said, there's too much at stake.
It's too
If
much
I
at
just
stake,
sort of
yeah.
accidentally slip and go, oh no, I die,
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, well, that kind of looks pretty bad for the demo, doesn't it? Oh, dear me.
There's too much at
Like-
stake. Just you play it beforehand, you record it, then you pretend you're playing it. Because no one's watching what you're doing with your thumbs and stuff.
Mm.
Just don't see why people do it. The only games you can say is like when they did Destiny, where they had like some sort of multi co-op thing.
Yeah, they all work together.
So it's like, well, that's fair enough. But when it's a single player game, record it and pretend you're playing it because there's too much at stake. You know, and that demo really did crash majorly.
Yeah, it was
It
like
just-
going, like, what is his name? Edward something.
Yeah, it's
His name's Edward something, and that's another thing. You go, the
Kenway,
guy comes out from Ubisoft comes out and goes, "Who doesn't want to be Edward such a body who like is a pirate trained by assassins?" And it's just sort of like, I don't know who that is.
I'm not interested in that much. I
It's
don't
like,
know.
Ezio, yeah.
I still haven't played Assassin's Creed 3, and I won't have played it by the time Fall
It's
comes
on
out.
the
I
list,
imagine. It's on the list, and they're bringing them out too fast.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed games are coming out thick and fast, and I haven't got the time to play them.
Yeah, but they're not exactly giving them time because it was just funny. I mean, the bit that made me laugh was he's clearly trying to be like super assassin-y, sneaking around in this section, and he runs up to this guy to like kill him, to just stab him, and he runs up to him. The game like freezes or lags.
Yeah.
And he goes flying right past him and
Yeah.
lands in like a bush. So it must have been playing live on that one.
No, it was definitely.
That
But
one was
he
playing
went through a
live.
bush, and the guy who was trying to kill didn't even notice him.
Yeah, he went flying. The thing is, though, he went flying right past him. He just went like, "Whoa!" The guard just like turned
The
around.
guard didn't
the guy probably
realise.
just saw this person just go woof, flying right past him into the bush, and then he just sort of went, "Nothing unusual here."
Yeah, it seems legit. And walked off. And it's just like, yeah, the whole demo is clearly broken, and it's just frustrating for them because you know they've practiced that hundreds of times, and it went perfectly. And on the one time where they needed to work, the hardware just died on them.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate. But like I say, just make a video.
That's
and
another thing,
pretend.
though. Microsoft kept on saying, things like, you know, oh, everything they said was Xbox One. This is running on Xbox One in real time, right now, right here, right now, in the hizzy. They were doing all that stuff, and it's just like, go away. It's like, you don't need to mention. We can understand.
Yeah.
This is Xbox One.
Another thing that annoyed me.
I'll take your word for it.
Sony did this more than Xbox, but saying things like "this is all in-game footage," that is the worst saying of all time.
Yeah.
Because, in-game footage should mean gameplay to me, not cinematics. You can't say this is in-game footage. You're not allowed, in my opinion.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's like Microsoft did the whole Forza, didn't they? They said this is in-game footage, and then they just showed like the opening cutscene for the game, and it's just like, well, this is not in-game footage. This is the cutscene. It's in the game, all right. At a stretch, you have
I
that.
don't know how they're allowed to
But
say
it's
things
not.
like that, because I think it's like against some sort of advertising standards. Because you know when you watch an advert for a game, and if it's not gameplay footage, it'll say in the corner not actual gameplay or something. But I just think you're confusing people by saying this is in-game footage, because people think that's the actual game and it's not.
Yeah, but then Sony did that, didn't they? With this is in-game footage, and
Sony did it on every single game they showed, I'm pretty sure. They wouldn't stop saying it. It was the buzzword for them.
yeah, in-game footage. Oh yeah, but then there was that one where it was like The Order. Is it The Order? Is it The Order or is it New Order?
This
I'm
is
getting
the most
mixed up with
confusing
Wolfenstein.
game thanks to Wolfenstein.
Thanks, Wolfenstein.
It's called The Order, 18 la-di-da. Wolfenstein is called Wolfenstein The New Order.
Right.
Right,
Okay,
yeah.
So now we got that cleared. So
Mm.
this new sort of werewolf hunting game that
We didn't see much of, we only saw
The Order said. It said at the start though, it said like all the studios behind it, like with the dead dramatic, like pretty much it was tantamount to Jurassic Park. You know, like the way it opens with dung. It was like that. It was just like all this, and then it said made in game. In other words, it's a cutscene that you've made using the in-game bits, but it's still a cutscene, guys.
Yeah.
This is not gameplay footage.
Well, it was. There wasn't a whole lot of gameplay footage inside Sony's, which is another reason why Microsoft won, in my opinion.
That's
in the
another
conference.
thing. It's a big console reveal. You're showing off all these games, and all we're getting is cinematics. Cinematics are designed to get you hyped, but they're not going to win over.
See, and one of the
people
worst
who
trailers
don't know
I've
what it
ever
is.
seen at NE3 was in Sony's conference, and that was Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
One of the worst trailers I've ever seen. In terms of, not the game looks fine, but it's one of the worst put together trailers I've seen. It's just,
Well, the Metal Gear one's pretty bad.
There was-
Remember, it was like the opening level that fast forwarded.
Yeah, but not as bad as the Final Fantasy.
Oh, yeah,
Final
Final
Fantasy
Fantasy
one was
was-
terrible because it's just like it's in Japanese for a start. This is a Western conference, so why is it all in Japanese? No problem with the Japanese stuff, but there's subtitles, and I was reading them. They had nothing to do with anything. They didn't follow over in any chronological
Yeah,
order.
they were out of context. The subtitles were completely out of
Yeah.
context. It wasn't like overseeing, oh, this is what the plot is. It was acting like there's this action scene that we don't know what's happened
Yeah.
before. We don't know what's going to
All
happen
of it's
after
just
it,
out of
and
context.
it's just like the subtitles are going, get to this area that we know nothing about. It's just like,
Yeah.
get here, do this, do that. I'm like,
And
what does this
it
mean?
was a terrible trailer. One of the worst trailers I've ever seen for a game as big as that. And the game itself looks fine, but one of the worst trailers. I just couldn't get over how bad that trailer was. It's like, could you at least put a bit of effort in? This is a big reveal, isn't it? Final Fantasy is a big game for Sony.
And that's another one though, right? The Sony fans are going, Final Fantasy 15 looks absolutely amazing. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to get you wrong. It does look amazing. But so does Final Fantasy 13.
I think you have to always reserve judgment with Final Fantasy games now.
Nowadays, yeah.
You can't they're not dead certain hits anymore. It's not like you know, when they release new Mario, for example, you're like, Mario! When it's like Final Fantasy, it's like, oh, is it good? Wait for some reviews.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is now, unfortunately.
But yeah. Forgot what I was going to say now.
No idea. Talking about Sony.
Yeah, no. Well, it's like, oh yeah, Final Fantasy 15, right? If you're looking like that, yeah, I'll give you that. It is. It does look amazing, but the trailer put together was a bit haphazard. And the second game that everyone who is a Sony fan is like going. Well, okay. If they didn't win for the trash talking of Microsoft, they've got to win for this game and this game and this game. And one of the games that they mention is Kingdom Hearts 3, and it's like, I'm not going to get you wrong. I've been interested in the Kingdom Hearts for a while. I've not actually played them because I never got a chance to. Don't get me wrong, it is something to get excited about. But we got 15 seconds, and that was it. All we got was confirmation that it's coming to your console. We got little else. So, alright, I'll class it as a game that you can say is technically going to win over Microsoft, but at the same time, are you? So, it's just weird, but
There wasn't anything particularly that took my interest in terms of Sony's conference games.
one thing that got me about Sony's conference, as well as the whole not really showing games off, well, not really showing off the big reveal for their console, is they showed off games that made no sense. That Dark Sorcerer game, I swear to you, that sticks in my head.
Yeah. This was that. Yeah.
Because here's the thing, it's like, oh yeah, look how amazing it looks, look how brilliant it is.
What was it?
What is it? Guys, you are trying to sell us games to buy on your console. Don't sell us stuff that we don't know what it is. We don't want mysteries, we want answers.
At the end, he comes out and says, "Did you like that?" Anyway, next game, I'm like, "What was that,
Yeah.
mate?"
Also, the Sony... Right, let me just say this, and you said it before. Jack Tretton, the only real Sony personality. The only real
He's
Sony...
the only person who
Don't
carries
have
on stage.
anyone else on stage.
Yeah.
Don't have anyone else on stage, right? The big bulky guy with glasses, right? The guy who pretty much said...
The
"Do you
guy who
like
kept
that?"
going about sports.
Yeah.
Am I right, Heat fans? What are you talking about, mate?
Yeah, it's just like, stop this sort of bro attitude that you've got.
Really
it doesn't work. You look awkward. It's like that kooky dad that's trying to be hip.
Hey, LeBron's gonna have his work cut out, isn't he? Against the Clippers, dog. What are you on about?
Into hizzy.
Yeah, it's just like, sorry, and also, just while we're looking at basketball, what was that thing all about with LeBron James? Is it LeBron James?
I don't know.
Or is it, I don't even know. But
I
some
just
basketballer who was talking to himself in game form.
Yeah,
And
right.
also, that he does not have that big a mouth.
He doesn't have that big
That
mouth
is
now.
a large mouth.
That is
and
a large...
what's scary about it is, it's just
black.
black when it opens. It's an abyss.
It's a void.
It's frightful.
Yeah, he just like opens... Because the whole point is, he's supposed to be doing like a slam dunk, and he just sort of going...
He dislocates his own jaw.
But his jaw just sort of opens up and it like
He
sucks
has
in
a
all of
giant
mankind.
mouth. It's Peggy 18 stuff.
It's frightening.
Moving on from that.
Yeah. But not moving on, just calling it back, just ignoring the mouth for a minute. It's the fact that you go, the guy, the real basketball player is there, and he just goes, "Hey, you want to see something cool? Oh look, it's a computerized version of me. This could be mocapped, but it's not." It's just like having like a little bit of a conversation with each other, and they're sort of going, "Yeah, okay, that's kind of cool." And he just goes, "See, so the graphics on the PlayStation 4 are crazy." And as soon as he said that, I just went, "I'm having flashbacks from the PlayStation 3 conference in 2006."
No, yeah.
Seriously, that is like ingrained in my memory of, I heard the graphics on that was crazy.
Yeah. Well, at least neither them or Microsoft have any major celebrities. Like, they usually like to get a celebrity out just to play a game. At least they didn't do any of that this year. What is it? Sony have had Kobe Bryant that time, came out and went, "Oh, it's like I'm shooting hoops with the boys."
Move. It's like I'm shooting hoops with the guys.
It's like, please leave. And then you've had Usher with his concert for Microsoft and a few other people who've played Gears of War. It's like, please can you leave?
Let's go.
But yeah, Sony's didn't get me going that much, and like I said, I'm not even joking when I say Octodad is my favourite game of Sony's conference. It genuinely was.
And they showed off Abe's Odyssey as well.
Yeah, they did.
And the funny thing that got me about that was it was all these games are exclusive to our console when they're not. Well, at least not all of them.
Well, I don't know all of them, but I know for a fact Abe's isn't on the Wii U. So what you say? Was it not announced? Well, it wasn't announced for Wii U at that point, was it?
No.
But still.
The thing that got me though, as well, was the fact that he comes out and this is the thing, right? Jack Tretton, I think, comes out and goes, "We really care about our indie developers. You know, we're all about our indie games." And I mean, you immediately just said, "Well, you're not, though, are you?" But I just remember thinking, everyone says that.
Yeah.
Every single console says that. Microsoft said it not a few hours before. You've just said it now. Nintendo are going to say it tomorrow when they do their conference.
Yeah, it's one of those things you just say.
And it's just like, this means nothing. You're trying to say that you care about the indie developers more than anyone else when you don't.
Yeah. Indie games are cool, but to be honest, I only really like the Wii U indie games. Something about them is really good.
What I'm trying to think is that
the indie games really get, for Wii U at least, they're the ones that are really doing the stuff with the gamepad and stuff. They really are doing some cool things. So I just think the best indie games are on Wii U for me.
I'm just trying to think. Is there anything else for Sony? Is there anything else for Sony's conference
that we haven't mentioned? This is it. They were very boring.
Yeah, they were very boring. Oh, the filler. Right? This is another thing.
They had a lot of filler.
I've already made a point of this. This is a big console reveal. How? You shouldn't be struggling to make up time, guys.
It was a bit long.
It was a bit long. It was like an hour and a half show.
It was unnecessary.
But it was just like, this is a big console reveal. Why have we got... They spent like 15 minutes of that time talking about how you can get Netflix and love film. Yeah. We're doing a merge with Sony Interactive and Sony Pictures and Sony TriStar or Sony Columbia. We're doing like a merging thing, and it's just like, and the thing that got me about this, the head of like the movie pictures area came out and sat there and just sort of went, we're doing, Sony is all about advancing it for the gamers, and I'm just like, ironic that you're talking about just doing things for the gamers when this is clearly nothing that gamers are going to use.
Yeah, I hope by next year's E3 they'll stop talking about things like this, because it's just standard. Yeah. You can watch Netflix on your console. Yeah, we know. Who doesn't know about Netflix on your console these days? Who doesn't? Because I'll go and tell him, so we can end this. It's just getting silly. Every year they come out and say
it. But
yeah, I think that's all we can say on Sony's. It was just an average.
Well, it's not just it's average. I didn't. Well, I think it's because I'm not trying to go against like the populace. Everyone is just going Sony win, but the thing is, Sony don't win.
Sony win because Xbox messed up tragically.
Yeah, Sony win by default, but even then they don't win the conferences.
In terms of the conference itself, Xbox had a better conference. They just showed games, which is what people want to see.
Yeah, but that's another thing, right? Going on to showing off games, right? Sony opens the conference, as it always does, big, bombastic,
Long intro.
Long intro that's just there to say, look how amazing we are. And seriously, as I said to you, they have a wall. Like, I'm talking, if you have a town hall, think of a wall that big, that wide, right? And a stage about the size of a king-size bed. It was like, you have a wall that huge and a stage like,
Yeah.
it was like,
It was
just like there, right in the middle, and they had like this huge wall to show everything off, which they showed off the trailers with.
What was that game? Oh no, yeah, it was. Carry on. It was the one where, was it a Kinect game, where that guy
Spark.
came out and was telling the console to make a game for him.
Yeah, he was going day, night.
And I just had
Evening.
visions of the console just like flipping a table and going, "What do you want, mate?"
It was funny. It was just like goes, night goes to night, evening, day.
Hills, mountains, ice,
It's not
winter.
It's not just like he goes. It's the one where he goes day, and he's like goes okay, and then you can imagine that the console. He goes night. He says night. The console goes all right. Here's night. He goes evening. Okay, evening. Here's evening. Day. All right. Here's day. Have a look at day. 4 p.m. What do you want, mate?
Yeah, but honestly, everyone's like saying, "Oh, well, eventually the machines are going to rise against the humans." Microsoft are going to start this by pissing off a Kinect console. That's how it's going to happen.
But in terms of the thing I was going to say about, because that was Project Spark, which which is like, come on, Rockington.
The reason why I remembered this is that awkward guy on stage. Oh, just bad.
Right. Now, just sort of talking about Sony and their conference. This is probably what I'm going to finish off with when it comes to Sony. But they literally did their conference the exact opposite to Microsoft. Like, they did not want to be associated with Microsoft in any way.
No.
Even down to the way they ran their conference. Because Microsoft ran their conference with game, talk about it. Game, talk about it. Game, talk about it. Smartwatch and Kinect. Game, talk about it. Game, talk about it, right? Sony was like, game. Did you like all of those games? They made absolutely no sense to you, did they? But did you like them? No. You can't just show us streams of games and not follow up with them. Now, I don't know. Maybe some of these games got shown off back in February. I don't know. I didn't attend that. But, because it's not E3. But I'm still just sort of like... And all these trailers that got shown off, they weren't really any gameplay.
No.
That's another problem. The only real games that we saw that were gameplay from Sony were non-exclusives like Watch Dogs and Black Flag.
Yeah.
Those were the only games where we actually got gameplay. Now, somebody would argue, oh yeah, what about Final Fantasy 15? There was gameplay in that. And it's like, yeah, but not in context. There was no context gameplay to that.
Final Fantasy was a mess. There was a little bit of gameplay Kingdom Hearts.
Was it?
A little bit.
Oh yeah, that bit where you're like running
I mean,
away.
it was a short trailer anyway.
It was a really short trailer. But then there was that Knack.
Oh yeah.
That had a bit of gameplay in it, but to me, I can't remember much else. And the thing is...
It was not a very memorable conference.
Yeah. Oh, that's just reminded me of that Microsoft game that they showed off, which was like a 15-second trailer that had no title, nothing. There was nothing to go on. It was just like a cinematic. It was almost like their conference got hijacked for 15 seconds while someone just showed something off from YouTube. It was like, what is this? But anyway.
I don't know. I can't remember. Well, I think Sony's conference will always be remembered for the we love used games even though we don't. That moment. That will be forever remembered for. Which is quite strange because it should be remembered for the big console reveal. It won't be remembered for them bashing Xbox. Which is a bit lame in the long run. But moving on
Finally.
to the third presentation. It wasn't really a big presentation because it was Nintendo Direct.
It was 40 minutes.
Just shy of 40 minutes. Nintendo's E3 presentation, Nintendo Direct, was generally decent, I would say. I think when I first saw it, I was a little bit deflated because this was the one all Nintendo fans were looking forward to with this conference, was Retro Studios' big game.
Yeah.
we might as well get started straight away on that.
Yeah,
Everyone-
we're getting started on the big things when it comes to these
Everyone wants
conferences.
to know what Retro's next game was. And everyone's guessing what it's going to be. Before the podcast that we did last week, we were pretty much saying, please
Star
give us
Fox.
Star Fox.
Give us Star Fox.
Because we knew we were revitalising an old franchise. We thought, okay, please be Star Fox. And obviously there's the chance of a Metroid game. Anyone would take that, and no. But it came out, it was Donkey Kong
2.
Country Returns 2, essentially. Donkey Kong Country Tropical
Tropical
Freeze.
Freeze.
And it looks amazing. But everyone's just deflated because they just wanted to see what Retro were doing, and everyone had high hopes for a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I just get the impression that no one really wanted another Donkey Kong because
We're glad of it.
that's
but
it.
No one wants it.
It took me a good 24 hours to really see how good that game was, really.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong Country Returns 2, as I would always call it, is immense. It looks fantastic. And the thing is, I think it was a Nintendo Live saying, like, I was like, oh, you know they're just going to do Diddy Kong Returns and Ring in Dixie, and then literally 15 minutes later they show it, and I was like, sorry guys. But
Yeah, you called.
I did, unfortunately call it.
You didn't even mean to call it. You
Exactly,
did a joke.
I did, yes.
To be honest, that happened with me though.
And I think I wrote on Twitter actually, I put, anyone want Diddy Kong?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, I saw it.
I wrote, so Diddy Kong Returns,
So
anyone?
did Kong Returns anyone?
And then 20 minutes later, oops.
I remember seeing
it's
that.
like, are you an insider? It's like, no, I was joking.
I was joking.
But-
Never mind.
But
Oh no, didn't I respond to that with no?
and a few other
I
people
filled
like-
the entire
yeah.
thing with just O's.
and unfortunately, that's essentially what we got. And but yeah, I just think it looks fantastic, and it's going to be amazing. But I think people are just unfortunately deflated because they
ran it wrong. They did it
just
wrong to
wanted
me.
something else.
They sort of built it up too much. Rather than saying like, oh, it could be a new Donkey Kong game or just something like that, they just pretty much went, it's a new game that they're working on, and it was just like, oh, what
They did build it up a
and
lot.
it's just sort of like,
They
well,
built it up too much.
yeah, it's just
for what
like,
it was.
We're glad of it. Don't get me wrong. I am really. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, this looks good, and I'm filled with so much hope. But no. But the thing is, they didn't actually mention it was retro.
No, and then everyone was wondering.
In true Simpsons fashion, I was there watching it, just going, they haven't said it's retro. It's still good. It's still good. And then it just was like, oh yeah, it's retro. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, and
Because I was like, it could be a different studio working on it. There's still a chance for Star Fox. It gets to like the last 4 minutes of the whole Nintendo Direct, and I'm just going, there's still 4 minutes. It's still good. It's still good.
yeah, it was sad that we're still not going to get Star Fox.
Not yet.
And
It's that's what so many people say. He's supposed to be one of your main franchises, Nintendo. Why are you not using him? And maybe it's and as
don't know.
Damien said on your site, he said on the live feed, he said, you know, it makes sense from a business standpoint, and I agree. It makes sense from that position.
yeah,
The fact is, Donkey Kong has sold well. It's sold well.
it's sold on the Wii version. It's selling reasonably well on the DS, 3DS, and
It's a popular game, so it makes sense to bring it out now.
it's a safe decision, but it's probably a good decision. But
It's
everyone just wanted something else, and I think realistically though, in terms of game sales, it's probably good that it's Donkey Kong because it will shift a few consoles.
Yeah.
Star Fox doesn't have that power. You know.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Star Fox doesn't have console selling power
No.
anymore. Donkey Kong
Unfortunately.
Country Returns though does, because that was a really big hit for the Wii. So people who, if you think about it, you've got people who are playing who have a Wii who don't have a Wii U yet.
Mm.
They've probably played Donkey Kong Country Returns, and now that they know there's a sequel coming on a new console, that will shift consoles.
Mm.
So it's a good decision. But
Yeah.
everyone is a little bit deflated that unfortunately it didn't transpire that it was something new.
Mm. Let's just rewind it for a second as well, because obviously tying in with Donkey Kong Country Returns 2, I could have said
Tropical Freeze, yeah.
But, yeah. Tying in with that, that's coming out this year.
This year, yeah.
That's coming out like
November.
winter, and I'm hyped for that because it's the Christmas game.
Yeah.
Another game they've got for the Christmas release is Super Mario 3D World, which we'll get to in a minute.
Yeah.
But one game that I said they should have had for this Christmas and it's coming out next year, is Mario Kart 8.
Mario Kart. Yeah.
Mario Kart. Now you say Donkey Kong sells consoles. It does. Mario Kart sells them by the droves.
Yeah.
That would have been the kick up the arse that the Wii U needed, and it's coming out in 2014, which is great. I'm looking forward to that. But to me, it's almost like you should have timed. To me, that should have been taking the place of Mario 3D World, because if you think about it, imagine this: they get rid of Mario 3D World, they change places in Mario Kart 8. Mario 3D World comes out next year, right? They change places, and they go, right, well, Donkey Kong and Mario Kart are coming out this Christmas. No better time to get a Wii U. Seriously. No. But maybe they're thinking people will buy a Wii U for Donkey Kong, and people will buy a Wii U for Mario Kart.
They probably will. Mario will shift consoles to 3D Mario World. Because it looks like a good game, and
it does look really good.
People seem to be against it. I love it.
I
love it, honestly. I think it's really good.
I think we've had this discussion before on the podcast, but basically Mario is in a state of stagnation. He's in a point where we either get 2D platforming games, which were nice and fine back on the DS with New Super Mario Brothers. It was great because up to then we just had 3D Marios like Mario Galaxy and so on and so forth. So it was nice to get something new, something fresh, right? And then we just got retro games all the time, like, oh, remember when we did this in Super Mario World? Oh, remember when we did this in Super Mario Bros. 3? And it's like, yeah, I remember that. Give me new memories. Don't give me old ones. I don't want to walk down nostalgia road for the rest of my life when it comes to Mario games, right? And the same really could be said for the 3D Mario, because, well, Mario Galaxy, admittedly, and the 3D Marios are moving a bit more forwards. So Mario 64, Sunshine, Galaxy, Galaxy 2, they are progressing. They're moving forwards. They're doing something different with every game. Like Mario Galaxy is frightfully different from Sunshine. Sunshine is frightfully different from 64. So they're at least progressing. But Mario, from a 2D side-scrolling standpoint, is staying the same. The one on the Wii U probably changes things the most, but even then it's still sort of harkening back to that classic thing.
Well, I think that series is finished, but now this series is just started.
This is the thing. The 3D Land/World series, people are going like, oh, well, I'm just bored, and I'm just sort of thinking, the 3D Mario Land was amazing. It was new. It was different. Instead of having the 3D environments of 64 onwards, where you could explore it, it was like the individual levels of the classic Mario. It was like old versus new. It was a clash of two different time zones, because you had the getting from A to B, which was the classic Mario formula of getting from the start of the stage to the end of the stage. You had that in 3D. Now 64 was you have one world to get 6 stars. But this wasn't that. This was you have one world to get just to the end, and then you have a new level, and then you have a new level, and everything was new.
I think people want a big Mario, like in terms of like 3D Mario. I'm talking like Mario Galaxy style. But there's no reason why that game won't come out in the long run anyway. Alongside this new Super Mario in the 3D Land World series, alongside that, I just don't. I think Mario 3D World is just the perfect game to bring out at this time, because it's Mario, it's 3D Land on the Wii U essentially, it's got multiplayer, it's a family game, it's Christmas, it makes sense. I like that game. I'm going to get it. It's great.
But it's not like that. They're still sort of harkening back to, oh, remember when we did this in Super Mario Bros. 2? Yeah, I remember when we did it in Super Mario Bros. 2. Yeah, but this is the thing,
Mario is... They can't do too much with Mario. What are they going to do? Give him an Uzi? It's Mario. He's going to jump on people's heads and bop around. It's Mario.
Yeah, well, that's fine, but it's just the fact that they keep reinventing the Tanuki suits and just sort of bringing them back.
Yeah, and now we've got Cat Mario, which is cool.
He gets the thing and goes, meow meow!
Well, to be honest, Cat Mario looks pretty cool. Frog Suit's back. Tanuki Mario is in it, I think.
Cat Mario, here's the thing, right? We had this discussion, as I said this to you, we had this discussion way back when we went to play the Wii U for the first time. Yeah, I think it was Play Expo.
It was Play Expo. We were talking to that girl
We were
about.
talking to that girl about how, because it was New Super Mario Bros. U, and we were playing it for the first time, and it was just sort of
What
like,
was the suit in
flying
that? Oh,
Screw
Squirrel
Man.
suit, yeah. And I was like, what are they going to bring? You know, what are they going to do? They're not suits here. And I think
Yeah,
it's
you said there's going to be Slug Mario.
Are we going to have
too.
Slug Mario and, you know,
And to be honest, it is kind of getting like that now.
Yeah.
Suits sort of don't have any rhyme or reason. It's just like Cat Mario. Oh, we can climb up walls. And it's just sort of like, that's kind of cool.
Cat Mario is cool. And it gave us that ridiculous photo of Miyamoto, which is enough for me.
What was that one now?
The one where he's dressed as a cat.
I have not seen.
You haven't seen the
I
picture of
haven't seen
Miyamoto
this
dressed
picture.
as a
No,
cat?
I've seen the picture of them all posing for Donkey Kong.
Oh, you've seen that one? That's brilliant. I'm talking about the one where he's got cat hands and cat ears and tail and he's like this. And you haven't seen it?
Not
Not
seen
when
it.
they go into
Right, I need to see that. Open next week's podcast with I've seen the cat Miyamoto.
I must have it on Twitter or something.
Well,
But,
we'll look at it later.
yeah.
But what else was there now? Yeah, so there was that 3D Mario, which I'm really looking forward to. I really am, because a lot of people go, "Oh well, 3D Land, it was rubbish." It wasn't rubbish. It was brilliant, and it was actually, for a Mario game, it was a step forward. And that's what Mario needs more than anything. He needs games that go forward, push things further,
I
not
think
just keep it safe.
Mario is one of those games where people just aren't happy with whatever he does.
Yeah.
It's always something.
Well,
that
didn't I
people
say that
want.
to you?
think
I said Mario fans just seemingly don't know what they want. Like what one Mario fan appreciates, the other one won't. Have you found it? Is that Go One next to it?
No, it's not Gokwan.
Oh, it looks like it.
I don't know who the other people are. Probably
Yeah.
developers.
Yeah, show them.
So that's the photo. But yeah, brilliant photograph. But the other game, the biggest game probably, well, there's two big games. Well, the other one is Mario Kart 8, which looks brilliant. Seems to be like an amalgamation of like all of
All the
of
previous
them.
Mario Karts.
So you've got like the Wii, they've brought the bikes from the Wii, and you've still got the glider and the underwater stuff from
7.
7, and now you've got like anti-gravity.
Yeah, the thing is, as soon as I saw it, I was like, "You want F-Zero? Well, have F-Zero with Mario Kart."
Yeah.
It seriously is F-Zero.
It is a bit like F-Zero.
Everyone
actually.
who's played it like hands-on, like E3 reports and that, have just said it plays very much like F-Zero. It's not just plays very much like F-Zero, but it sort of feels like F-Zero as well.
Yeah, well, it
So-
does look. How good does it look though in terms of gameplay?
Oh yes, it looks amazing.
I've seen watching some of the gameplay. It is outstandingly good.
It's so slick.
Oh,
And this is another
just
thing.
like perfect. I mean, because
Just-
this was the thing. Sonic Racing Transformed on the Wii U is a decent game, but in terms of like its frame rate and how it plays, it's a little bit under par.
Mm.
But Mario Kart looks unbelievable.
Mm. Well, here's something else though. Comparing Nintendo's way of doing things to Sony and Microsoft.
Mm.
Sony and Microsoft just reveal cinematic trailers.
Yeah.
Nintendo did not reveal one cinematic trailer.
Well, there was X,
Even then, I don't think
but it wasn't
it showed
all.
a lot of gameplay.
Yeah,
in
it
that.
was. It was.
It showed a lot of gameplay in that, and it showed a lot of gameplay in Mario
Yeah.
8, Mario Kart 8, Mario
Mm.
World, and it also showed a lot of for Donkey Kong.
Yeah, it's all about the gameplay for Nintendo anyway.
Yeah.
You know, they don't really rely on cinema. They never have relied on
I mean,
cinematics.
Let's go on to this now. With some people have been saying, like, as we've just said today, Sony don't want you to get pre-sold games. They don't want you to get games that
Pre-owned and
pre-owned.
used
Yeah, they don't want.
games,
They don't want that. They don't want it anymore. You know, they want to get rid of it, but they're advertising.
They're
it like
pretending
they want it.
that they.
Yeah, they're doing it
Well,
simply
just because Xbox are doing
yeah,
that.
exactly, just to oppose the competition.
Yeah.
And that's the real tragedy when it comes to Sony's conference. It's just like, basically, you're giving me nothing. You're giving me no reason to buy your console, just because your reasoning to buy your PS4 is because it's not an Xbox One.
Yeah.
That's your reasoning, and it's just like,
Yeah,
is
you
that
can-
enough? But yeah, I forgot what I was going to say now. Damn. Right.
I think Microsoft have been a bit brave in terms of doing what everyone wants to do. In
Yeah.
terms of new game, because publishers, everyone they don't like used games, and this is something that everyone's talked about them doing, but they've just gone too far. It's things like you can't even lend it to your friend.
Yeah.
That's just silly. But what Nintendo have actually said is things like, our policy of tackling used games is we're going to just make games that people want to keep.
Yeah, exactly. And
that should always be the case. But the industry can't expect. For example, Assassin's Creed is out every year. It's like clockwork. You know when it's going to come out. You can predict when they're going to reveal a new Assassin's Creed game.
Well, this one's coming out in October.
Yeah, every year it comes
year.
out. It ships to the Christmas market every year, and you can't expect people to buy your game every year and not trade in. You can't expect them to do that. People have a limited supply of disposable income. You can't expect them to just constantly buy your games and not trade in. When you're bringing them out on an annual basis like this, FIFA and things like that, every year here's another one, Call of Duty, here's another one, Battlefield, here's another one. You can't expect them to just keep buying.
Yeah, but trust Reggie to be the one to just say, hey, why don't you just make better games?
Yeah, Reggie.
It's just like everyone's going,
but it's so obvious.
We have a used game policy. Well, we don't have a used game policy. And Nintendo just go, well, why don't you just make better games that people want to keep?
Yeah. Well, it's true in a way, because you buy Smash Brawl, you keep Smash Brawl. You buy Mario Kart Wii, you keep it. It's not a game that you play and then just go, right, well, I'll get rid of that.
Yeah, it's not a game you can complete in a single evening as well.
Yeah, it's an everlasting game.
I remember when friends of mine, way back when the Xbox 360 first came out, friends of mine were like buying the latest Call of Duty and completing it over the weekend.
Yeah.
They were like trading it in the following Monday. Literally, they were trading it in, they were playing it, and they were just going, right, well, that's that gaming experience done. Bye. It's like, well, you're not letting them...
Yeah, you might as well have rented it.
Yeah, you're not letting them really go for this game. You're not letting them really have fun with it. You're just sort of having them play it and...
But retailers sort of almost give you the challenge to complete it fast, because in the first week of a new game coming out, they're giving you pretty good trading prices. Like, you're buying it for 40, they'll give you like almost 30 quid to give it back. So they're almost giving you that challenge. Hey, if you finish in a week, bring it back, we'll give you the monies. Because that's how big a pre-owned market is. But games like Call of Duty are open to that, because you are going to finish it very quickly.
Yeah.
And you can finish it in a day and give it back the following day. But they're open to that. But games like Mario Kart and Super Smash Brothers, you want to keep them. And they don't come out every year, though, to be fair. But that's the point. What I mean. That's the point.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like a Mario Kart, right? There is a Mario Kart per console, and a console's life is average of 5 years. And that's the point. It's like you get a Mario Kart every 5 years. You don't need another one. It's like they wouldn't give you like Mario Kart 8.5 with different levels. No.
Well, the thing is, this is like DLC that you can put on. Like, for example, New Super Mario Brothers U now has New Super Luigi U, which is essentially DLC, but it's not DLC in a way.
I'm blown away by that.
It's a new game in itself.
It's a brand new game.
But this is how Nintendo will probably do it. I mean, Mario Kart 8 will come out now. I mean, in 2 years' time, there's no reason why they won't bring out a DLC for it.
What about Arkham? When Sony did that Batman thing, it was just like, and we've got exclusive DLC for Sony. You can play as Adam West Batman and some crazed Poison Ivy.
He looks like Zurg from Toy Story.
Yeah, he does look like Zurg from Toy Story. It's like this one, and it's just like, ooh, wow, that's amazing DLC. I can't wait to get my hands on it. Nintendo just go, oh yeah, you know that game that we made? Yeah, we've made a new game, and guess what? You don't even need to buy a new disc.
Yeah,
it's there.
It is a good way of doing DLC. I think we might see more of that in terms of Mario Kart. A few years' time, there's no reason why they'll throw another Mario Kart essentially at the same Mario Kart. Yeah. Just 8.5. Since it's just new tracks, just
add to the new tracks. Or it will be, I reckon it would be kind of cool if they did new tracks based around the old ones. So it's like you had the new tracks for Mario Kart 8, and then taking the area, let's say it's called DK Jungle Walk Plank or something like that, I don't know. I'm rubbish at naming Mario Kart names. Hire me, Nintendo, please. But it's just like, it's called DK Walk something. DK Jungle Walkway, let's say that. And it's set in the same area that DK Jungle Walkway is, but they've just rejigged all the track to go in a different way, so it's a new track. That would be kind of cool. And you mentioned they could do with bringing out a Mario Kart course editor. That's like
a track editor. It's like the next step for Mario Kart.
It is the next step, but it's also like infinite Mario Kart, as you said.
Yeah, it is.
Other than that, we didn't get what we wanted in terms of the Game Boy Advance. They didn't announce that. Nintendo didn't announce that.
What for the 3DS?
Yeah. But they did show off Pokemon X and Y.
Oh yeah, a bit of it.
And it's coming out this year in October, I think.
Another game.
And the fairy Pokemon, as you just mentioned. The one thing that's got me about the fairy Pokemon, everyone can just sort of go, fairy. Who wants to have a fairy Pokemon? I want to have a fairy Pokemon because they're good against dragon types. Yeah.
Finally.
Dragon has been like near enough indestructible for near enough 5 generations now.
Finally, now it can be beaten.
And now it can finally be beaten.
By a Jigglypuff.
Yeah, by a Jigglypuff. Yeah.
That's all they showed of X&Y, wasn't it? They did like a Q&A later on a Pokemon Direct, which is...
Yeah, but we're mainly sort of discussing the things for now.
Yeah, they didn't really show anything else though, did they? I can think of.
What, for the Nintendo Direct?
I'm talking about Pokemon.
Oh, Pokemon, I was going to say.
Yeah.
For the Nintendo Direct, there's loads more. But,
Really? Well, there's
well, we'll get onto that in a minute. But,
there's X.
There's X.
Cross, or whatever it's called. Monolith Soft's X Cross game.
Yeah.
Which
Just
looks...
showed off the Wonderful 101.
Oh yes, Wonderful 101, which is out this year. That's a good game.
Now, here's another thing, right? People have been saying like this, mocking. Again, these are the people that say Sony won when they didn't. They just didn't. But it's like people who mock all the other like companies, and they'll immediately they'll just go for the punching bag in front of the Xbox One, and they'll just sort of go like, yeah, we'll just mock this one, like punch it to death,
Yeah.
and then they'll show, then they'll go like, the Sony, the console for gamers by gamers and all that and whatever, yeah, whatever. Moving on, and then the last one is like Nintendo just sort of going like, we thank you for your patience, and I'm just sort of thinking, yeah, Nintendo said that. Mr. Iwata said, thank you for your patience. You know, we're getting the games out to you. But do you know what? I'm glad. I am more than willing to wait for that, because good things come to those who
Well,
wait.
Nintendo have a big reputation for delaying games, don't they? But to be fair, they only do it because they're just not quite ready.
Right? Well,
And
here's another
a
thing,
lot
right?
of other companies who just churn them out, really.
Here's one thing. Christmas 2005. Big news that happened that day, or not that day, but that season, that time of the year. So one of the biggest news that I remember was the controversy when Miyamoto came out and said that Twilight Princess that was going to be delayed. He came out and he said Twilight Princess is delayed. And the world went nuts. The world went ballistic. And then he said, but good things come to those who wait. And then we got Twilight Princess the following year. And the Wii U came out. And it was amazing. And it was one of the best Zelda games ever made. If not one of the best games ever made. So, yeah, I am more than... You can mock Nintendo all you want and say, oh yeah, thank you for your patience. You have to wait until next year. Yeah, guess what? Nintendo's going to own next year. Like, seriously. They've already owned this year with the 3DS. They're going to own next year. But, shall we go on to the big news that Nintendo showed off? The biggest, at least.
Well, I don't know if it's the biggest, but I'm taking it you're talking about Smash Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we finally got some action with Smash Brothers. So it's on 3DS, on the Wii U. 3DS is sort of like cel-shaded, so you can see the characters. It's got like a black outline.
Yeah. It's kind of similar to the Mario and Luigi series.
It was kind of cool. Unfortunately, there's no cross-play.
Yeah, it's kind of
But
bad.
which is a bit unfortunate. But both games are different in terms of the stages are different. So on the handheld, you'll see games that were on the handheld. So I'm presuming the Spirit Tracks level is on the handheld.
Yeah.
And whereas the Wii U's can have bigger levels and all the rest of it.
But that's another thing, though. These games are massive. This isn't like Sony's Smash Brothers, where they did the whole PlayStation Vita and you can use it as a controller. Yeah, the PlayStation Vita doesn't have Sony All-Stars Battle Royale as a game.
Yeah. They're two separate games, aren't they?
They're two separate games, and that's another thing. They're two separate games, but also imagine if those two games had to merge. These are two games, but they're huge games. These games are massive. The reason why Smash Brothers lagged is because it was massive.
I mean, this is probably Sakurai's biggest development that he's doing. I mean, it's huge. What he's having to do for this one is just massive. 2 games simultaneously, both with different coding, both with, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's maddening.
It's no wonder it's taking ages to make because it's just massive, but it is going to be huge.
Oh, it's gonna be massive. I can't wait for it.
And Mega Man joins the battle.
Oh right, yeah. Here's the thing. You said that Diddy Kong returns. You said Diddy Kong Racing, but yeah, Diddy Kong returns.
Mhm.
You said that as a joke, and you was like, "Lol, wouldn't it be great?" Or "Well, wouldn't it not be great?" Because I don't want something else like that.
Yeah.
And then it's just like it happens. You're like, "Oh, sorry guys." And I just said to you a few days before E3 or a few weeks before E3, I was like joking with you. It's like, wouldn't it be funny if at the end of the trailer it just all goes to black and then it just goes like plays like the Mega Man theme and in comes Mega Man. It's like Mega Man is here.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that would be funny. Yeah, I called it
Mega
accidentally.
Man. Yeah, Mega Man.
Apparently, he was in it. That you've heard
Mega Man is so good. It's easily the best third-party character we've ever had.
ever.
Like last year we had Sonic. Well, last game we had Sonic and Snake. And that Mega Man looks so good. He's like got all the moves. He combines all of his, rock the
Metal Man,
the
Flame Man, Slash Man, Hard Man.
Looks so good. Well, the big question I want to know is what happens when Kirby eats him.
What happens when Kirby eats Mega Man? Because it is sort of like the don't type Google into Google thing. Because it's like Mega Man steals his abilities from those he beats, and Kirby steals his abilities from those he eats.
Yeah.
So it's just sort of like, who is who? What's
Yeah.
going to happen?
I imagine he'll have a big Mega Man hat on,
Yeah, well, obviously.
a helmet, and he'll look brilliant. And I don't know what his move will be. A blaster. I imagine he'll probably
I
have a
reckon it's a
blaster.
big blaster.
Um,
Or it could be the do, just the shooting of the thing.
Yeah,
It could just
Kirby
be
Mega Man will be brilliant. Kirby's already one of my favourite characters on Smash, and now he's going to be even better if Mega Man's around.
Yeah, Mega Man. That's the thing. You said it pretty much spot on when you said this. It was Mega Man is the character you're going to actually play as.
Yeah,
So like, there's loads of other characters out there in Smash Bros. Universe that get introduced. It's like, oh well, that's kind of interesting, but Mega Man really is the character you are going to be.
Mega Man's going to be a big character people are going to play as. Because he's so
Mm.
cool. And it's just the fact that every detail, he's the NES one essentially. He's
Yeah.
NES Mega Man.
He's NES Mega Man from the way he's like animated, like the way he's quite small. He's not like the Maverick Mega Man where he's quite much more like a grown man. He's
Yeah.
like a little man.
He's a little Mega Man, he's cool.
And the way he jumps and the way he gets hit. When he gets hit, he's like going. He's like sideways on. He's like getting hurt. It's like take the NES animation of him getting hurt and just put that side to side with the way he is in the Smash Brothers. It's identical.
We've not seen his final Smash yet, have we?
No, what do you think it's going to be?
The pause trick.
The fall.
No.
That would be amazing. Just like shoots your leg beams everywhere and then just goes. Like,
Imagine if the pause trick was doable though. Imagine you could somehow, that would be brilliant.
I don't think it would.
If you could shoot an electric and then you could hammer the pause button
You
and it
can't
hurts
do that.
everyone double or something.
You can't do the electric, but
I don't know what his final Smash will be.
what could I'm trying to think now. I'm trying to think of like the range of attacks that he could have.
You already got quite.
What could it be?
I'm not sure.
Doesn't. Oh. Now we're really thinking about this. We
I
haven't
know.
really had. I haven't really ever thought about this. What's his final Smash gonna be?
It'll be one of the robot monsters. Robot.
Well, Kirby's just doesn't make sense either.
No.
That's the get them in a pot and.
Hope they change Kirby's. See, they're bringing back Final Smash, and we've only ever seen the Wii Fit trainers.
And Samus's.
Oh, we have actually.
Yeah. Also, yeah, you just sort of skipped over that point. Wii Fit Trainer.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, Sakurai's like, I bet no one saw this one coming. It's like, no, we didn't.
No, that Sakurai then proceeded to flip a table and go find the person who did that.
Yeah. Well, crazy. I hope the Wii Balance Board is a character
No, I think she's going to use the Wii Balance Board.
as a weapon or something.
Or, well,
Her Final Smash is that weird sort
she's
of
actually already got a stage, hasn't she?
I don't know.
She's got a stage.
Yeah, she's never seen it.
The Wii Balance Board's in the background, sort of like waving at you.
Oh, brilliant. I love the Wii Balance Board.
And that's the stage.
Then the other character who's been revealed is the villager. The villager.
Oh, the villager.
The
Right?
scary villager.
The villager, who from now on I'm going to call Norman Bates.
He's frightful. It's just when he comes in, catches Mario in his net and goes like, "You are mine now."
I shall call you Precious.
It's just like, what? Walking around with his axe, buries people in the ground, and like, hi
Yeah.
guys. Just went all with a smile.
Yeah, that's the real
Bang.
haunting thing. It's like someone unironically drew a picture on the Miiverse of the villager holding an axe and it just went, ready for battle, and I was just sort of like, do you know how much of a psychopath he looks? He's holding an axe and just sort of smiling at you going, hi there. It's like, oh god. He is terrifying. Like, I hope Sakurai picks up on this and actually makes him even more terrifying.
Yeah.
Because it's just sort of like...
As if it could be done. He looks just frightening.
Mm.
The villager. But,
The villager.
There'll be other others, I think, but I don't know. Little Max pretty much nailed on. Mewtwo's probably going to make it.
Yeah, I think you too. I reckon when you know, like the trailer is Mega Man joins the battle and Wii Fit Trainer joins the battle and stuff like that. It's all joins the battle. I reckon when it says Mewtwo, it'll say Mewtwo returns.
Yeah, I think they're probably going to reveal them as the Nintendo Directs go on.
Mm.
Like every Nintendo
Every
Direct.
Nintendo Direct will be like, also we have a new character to show.
Yeah, they'll show something new for Smash Bros. Every single one. I imagine it'll show a new challenge.
like a new stage or a new character.
Yeah. Because there's plenty to show on that game.
Mm. But wish list for characters in future.
Well, we already said Baby Mario and Luigi.
Baby Mario and Baby Luigi would be awesome. They'd be like ice climbers, but not quite. Well, they would kind of be like ice climbers with a new skin, but they do have a lot more moves going for them. So
I think Chrom from Fire Emblem will.
yeah, he'll
Yeah.
replace Ike.
You see, the thing is, it's like I don't know if the 3DS is going to have different characters to the Wii U.
I don't think so.
I think if
they're
anything,
gonna
it'll
the
have
same
less.
characters. Maybe.
There won't be any exclusive characters on each one. I don't think.
I don't think so. I think they will have the same characters. I think they'll have the same. They have to have the same characters.
Yeah, but can they
because-
pack all the characters in? There's going to be a lot of characters on Wii U. Because think about if you think of,
They've announced they've definitely got a single player campaign.
like for example, Mario Kart 7 has like a handful of Mario Kart characters.
Mm.
Mario Kart Wii has so many.
Mm.
So I expect the Wii U to have more characters than the 3DS version. Then.
Yeah. Mm.
I don't know.
It will be a challenge. That is, yeah. It just has to. It will be a challenge to get.
I just think
all
the
many
3DS
characters on.
version probably won't have as many characters.
Mm.
Just because it'll probably have Mega Man in that.
Well, when they first unveiled that it was going to be Smash Bros. For the 3DS, I had an idea that the characters that they were going to have were all going to be like classic designed, like SNES graphics and such, like a SNES type Super Smash Bros. And like the Mario would literally be the Mario sprite from Mario World. Samus would be obviously from Super Metroid, but I kind of like it nonetheless. But yeah, Little Mac's probably going to be in there. Dark Samus is one of mine. And Vati from The Legend of Zelda. And I posted this on the Miiverse, like, I want Vati, and a lot of people have said, like, oh yeah, I like him, but he's a bit obscure. And I'm just thinking, I'm sorry, if Wii Fit Trainer can make the cut, I think a Zelda villain who's had 3 games under his belt can make it.
We'd all like to see, but I don't think.
Another one that fans are desperate for. Seriously, here's the thing, right? I was like, I've been on the Miiverse, like drawing.
Yeah, there's a fun
stuff. I drew Vati and it got like 4 years. I drew Dark Samus, it got a couple of years. I got Baby Mario, it got a couple of years. I drew this one and it skyrocketed. I got loads of years. Gino. I put Gino in from
Super Mario RPG.
Super Mario RPG. I put Gino in there, and oh
Gino.
my lord. I got like 12 years in
quite a surprising
5
amount.
minutes.
Yeah. Quite a surprising amount of years for Gino.
Yeah.
Because he's quite a niche character. He's
quite a
only been
niche
in one
character.
game. It was on the SNES years ago. But yeah, he's cool. Need to be more Gino games out there.
One character that I don't think they should have, which even though they could possibly have, if they did, it would be very disappointing, with Dark Pit.
They just use his skin.
Yeah, just use him as a skin. His character, I'm playing Kid Icarus Uprising at the moment, as I say. His character is very different from Pit's, and almost kind of cool. He's so much cooler than Pit, but he looks the same, and it's the Dark Samus argument. They look the same, but they have different moves. But it's just sort of like, yeah, they look too similar. He's just Pit in black.
And Dark Samus would have different moves now.
Dark Samus would at least look a little different. But who else? Yeah, Medusa.
Medusa
Maybe.
maybe.
Icarus.
I don't know.
It's possible because
Anything's
Sakurai
possible.
developed that game.
True. Anything is possible. The fact that Wii Fit Trainers in there.
Yeah, that's the thing. She's like opened the floodgates. It's like before the argument was, oh well, they need to be careful as to who they put in. They can't just put any old average Joe. No, apparently they can, and they do.
Wii Fit Trainers.
What's happening to my voice today? It's like, oh.
Wii Fit Trainer. I don't know. I think that's kind of it for Nintendo's presentation, really.
Yeah.
Generally
well,
good.
Overall, the only downsides I've got for it are, it was a bit short, but in a way that was good because it was to the point. No filler, just straight up telling you what it was. As you said, if they hadn't had done that Nintendo Direct 3DS one they did earlier this year, that would have been in there. That would make it massive. That would make Nintendo win. Full stop.
Win the world.
Yeah.
You win everything.
You win everything.
Because that 3DS presentation was ridiculously good.
But,
Stop giving us this many games.
Yeah. It was just like, we have another game. Really?
Stop
it. But yeah, the only downside I've got is probably that we were just a little disappointed in the fact that Retro weren't working on something new and that they were pretty much following up on their old stuff.
Yeah.
And another thing was, I'm going to sound really ungrateful here, but no, I don't mean to. I am happy with what we got shown off. We got Donkey Kong, we got Smash Brothers, we got Mario, we got Mario Kart, we got a lot, right? And I'm happy for that. We didn't really get anything new outside of Donkey Kong, though.
Donkey Kong was the other thing we didn't know about.
Yeah, and all the other games we knew that were coming out, we just didn't have footage for them, and now we did, and it's just sort of like, eh.
Yeah. It was good to see though. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed it after it took me 24 hours to sort of realise how good it was, really.
Yeah. But yeah. Overall, if there was a winner in terms of conferences, unfortunately it would probably be Microsoft.
Not based on the show games.
You see, here's the thing. Everyone's like raging now. If they weren't raging before when we said that Sony's was terrible, they're raging now. But
it's not that it was terrible. It was decent. It wasn't groundbreaking.
It wasn't groundbreaking. Everyone's like going, "Oh, A-star, 10 out of 10,
yeah,
the best conference in the world ever of anything ever before seen by mankind."
I can't see it unless I fell asleep during when they were talking about films. That's something really good.
Yeah, that's the thing. How do you have filler? That's all that thing about Netflix and that's filler. How do you have that on a big console reveal? You don't.
It's a bit boring, isn't it?
This, and I said this to you yesterday, and it's very harsh words, but I believe them to be true. It's this console reveal is actually worse than the PlayStation 3 reveal.
Can't be worse. It can't be worse than that. That was horrendous.
Or at least it stirred nothing inside of me. At least the PlayStation 3 stirred a little bit of laughter.
I don't think the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One are going to sell particularly brilliantly, because for a start, the PlayStation 3 is still strong. It doesn't need a new console, so we don't need them to move to PS4 right now.
As you say, like Watch Dogs and Black Flag, they're all coming out.
They're on PS3,
PS3.
so if you've got a PS3, you're just going to get those games on that. You don't have to make such a big investment. Whereas you did with the PlayStation 3, because there was no sort of PlayStation 2 to 3 crossovers.
Yeah.
And with Xbox One, obviously, not many people are going to get that because, well, obviously, it's a mess. But in terms of the PlayStation, anyway, I don't think it's going to sell drastically well. The Sony fans will buy it, but they don't win you a console war. You need the main consumers, and they're not really going to come in when they say, "Well, I've already got a PlayStation 3, and all these games are available on PlayStation 3, so I'll get them on PlayStation 3." So it's a similar story to the Wii U, really. Every console has a slow start, and I think Sony and Microsoft are going to have the same treatment, and you'll get the doom mongers going, "Oh well, that's it for console gaming now." It's like, well, no, it isn't.
Yeah, I'm sick of these people.
A new console always starts slow.
I'm sick of these people going, "Oh, Nintendo should just get out of the console industry." It's just like you right. these are like full-on video game analysts.
Yeah.
I want to know how they're in a job. Because it's just like, you clearly don't know how video game works.
The funny thing about video game analysts is they all have different opinions, which makes me laugh. It's like, aren't you all supposed to have the same sort of... Yeah, you're supposed to come to the same conclusion.
Yeah.
I just love how they all come up with different answers. It's like, well, that was helpful, guys.
Yeah, you're not video game analysts as much as
You're just
you are
guessing,
opinionated about games.
It's just people guessing, as usual. That's all it is. It's like, how would you get paid for that? Because not much analysing going on, really. They just sort of crunch the numbers and go, yeah, this will happen. And then someone will crunch the very same numbers and come up with a different answer. So it's like, oh, okay. Whatever you say.
Thumbs up.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
But console gaming is far from dead. It will have a slow start with the PS4 and the Xbox One, but every console does. So I'm just fed up of hearing how it's all doomed. It's like, it's not.
And there's the classic argument of, this console's going the way of the Dreamcast. Oh, references.
Why? Because EA aren't bringing FIFA.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, but no. It's just not a viable argument.
Yeah.
Well, I think that pretty much covers everything we've had to say about E3.
Pretty much.
There's probably more, but you know.
If
Overall,
it's pretty much been a recap of us just what we've been saying all week to each other.
Kind of. So, what's your favourite game from E3?
My favourite game, as in like what game am I most hyped for? Yeah, it's the having to choose my favourite child, Ocarina of Time versus.
For me, it's one of 3 Nintendo games.
It is. They're all pretty much Nintendo games.
All of them are, actually, yeah.
The
only, as I said earlier, the only game from the other consoles that I'm interested in, it's Octodad and
Abe,
both the Abe games, both, the other
Stranger's
games.
Wrath is also coming out.
And also, see, I'm interested in Watch Dogs. I'll probably get that on Wii U. So the only
Arkham Origins as well.
Arkham Origins. I've not decided what console I'll get that on yet.
Well, if it's coming to the Xbox 360, I'll just get it on that.
Because
I've got the other 2 on that. So, yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Just to sort of keep up with tradition.
And I can't think of any other game that really got me interested other than them. So, really, it's out of 3 Nintendo games, and that's Smash Brothers, Mario Kart 8, and it's New Super Mario Bros. World 3D Land.
Yeah.
Times 4, whatever it's called.
Yeah. Super Mario 3D Land.
I still haven't mastered saying Super Mario 3D Land, so I've got no chance.
Yeah, Super 3D Mario Land.
Yeah.
Super Land
3D Land Mario.
Mario
World
Super
Land
3D.
Super. No idea.
It's crazy, but yeah, they're not very good with the titling. But yes, the game that I'm most interested in is, well, I'm just gonna go with what my gut says because my gut said it. The moment you asked the question, it just went boom straight into my head, and I was like, yeah, what is it?
So what is it?
It's Smash Brothers. It's Smash Brothers for the reason that it's just amazing, and I'm really looking forward to it. The reason why I'm sort of having second feelings about it, though, is because it is, out of all the games that were shown off at E3, it's the one we're going to have to wait the longest for. It really is. Yeah. Mario Kart 8 is like spring. Mario World and Donkey Kong are this year. Pokemon X and Y is this year. But we have no clue where Smash Bros. Is. It's just 2014. Like, Sakurai just pretty much came out and just went, look, you'll get it when you get it, alright? Stop pestering me. Sakurai is the little cousin Scampy of the Nintendo team. He is the table flipper. It's like, don't invite him to a conference. Because it's just sort of like, he'll kill people with flipping the table. Sort of like, I don't like this! Just flips everything.
He's a legend.
He is awesome. Sakurai is easily one of my most respected video game developers.
I think my favourite is out of, I don't know, either Mario 3D World or Mario Kart 8. Mario Kart 8 looks fantastic and will get.
I think I'm looking forward to World simply because it's coming out this year.
Yeah, and
I think after Christmas it'll be Mario Kart 8. Can't wait for that.
Yeah.
And Mario Golf, no
sadness. But yeah. Donkey Kong, I am looking forward to.
Yeah,
but it's just not my favourite game of the show. I'll get it day one.
Another thing they got me was and you can really see the fur effect.
Oh, you can see that fur.
Oh, you can see that fur.
I
Oh,
love-
it's coming out you.
I love
It's that
Donkey
good.
Kong fur. Yeah, everyone loves Donkey Kong fur. It's amazing. You can see his fur, everybody.
So you see his fur on the last game.
Yeah. But you can see it in HD.
Yeah, seriously. Game hit right. Nintendo games in HD look amazing.
Yeah.
They look absolutely astounding. Far better than any other game. I think it's because Nintendo know how to polish a game.
Mario Kart's the most astounding one.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Nintendo know how to polish a game. They make a game look absolutely amazing with so much polish and so much sort of
Yeah.
sheen. They don't have any rough edges.
Wind
They
Waker
polish
HD.
it.
Very much Wind Waker, by the way.
Oh yeah, Wind Waker HD.
And that looks immense in HD.
Mm.
The screenshots of that are just like...
Mm.
I love in the developer interview, he was just like, you can feel the temperature of the sun. It's like, oh,
You feel like you turn around like,
I can feel the temperature of the sun.
I'm boiling.
It's just brilliant.
But anyway, I think that's pretty much everything we covered.
Yeah.
I think we should leave it there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so overall, E3 was good. Enjoyed it. But I just feel the conferences lacked a little bit.
Well, Nintendo's was very different this year because of the whole Nintendo Direct thing. Sony's will always be remembered for bashing Xbox. And Xbox will always be remembered for not even the conference. It'll be all the DRM issues that they've done.
Yeah.
So it's one of those where you look back on and say, mostly it'll be remembered for Sony bashing on Microsoft.
It's a hung E3.
Yeah.
You don't know.
There's no clear winner,
Yeah.
but everyone says Sony has won simply because they kicked it into an open net. In terms of conferences, it wasn't that good. It was pretty dull.
But that's another thing though that gets me about the Sony thing, right? That whole cheeky video of here's how you share a game on a PlayStation. Thanks. Isn't that just really kooky?
It's
like
funny.
my advice to Microsoft. I'm not even a Microsoft fan, but my advice to them: just wait for Sony to make one
It's
catastrophic
always
mistake.
Yeah, it's always
and I want
dangerous.
you to capitalise on it.
Especially for someone like Sony who like to make the odd mistake, is that, you know, acting as if you're perfect is not going to help you in the long run because something will happen to you
Yeah.
and Don Matrix will have a field day.
What would have happened if when Sony got hacked?
No.
What would have happened if Xbox just went, "Hey, you want to get money hacked? Go and get a PlayStation.
Yeah.
But if you want your money to be safe, come to us."
And
They could have said
credit to Xbox, he didn't do that. And I think Sony have made a mistake in the long term just slating
that.
Xbox.
Sony are always and forever will be arrogant.
Yeah, I just don't like him. It's like, oh, well, aren't we perfect? Well, no, you got your systems hacked and gave out a load of credit card information, so you're not perfect. Don't pretend that you are. So, and credit to Microsoft in that position, they didn't have a go. Mainly because it could happen to them.
Mm.
So, let's not be silly. And the way Sony came out and pretended that they're in love with used games when they hate used games and have been trying several different methods to stop it is just a bit hypocritical.
Yeah, exactly. That's what, I mean. People are going, "Oh, why have you got a problem with Sony saying that they like used games? They're clearly taking the side of the gamers." Yeah, but they're not.
They don't want used
Sony
games.
have never taken the side of the gamers, and I don't think they're ever going to change.
Well, it just makes... obviously they don't like used games because it's against the business, isn't it? You know, they're losing out on money. But at the same
It's
time,
like them going, "We love piracy."
I very rarely buy used games. In fact, I haven't bought one for a long time because I just like to keep them in a way. But I can certainly see why people buy used games. There are too many. You know, if you're a fan of Call of Duty, for example, you have to fork out £40 to £50 every year. And that's a lot of money. And if you're a fan of that and Assassin's Creed, well, that's £100 every year. You know, you can't expect people to be paying this. And eventually, titles like Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty will just hit a wall because people will just get bored of it.
It'll go the same way Guitar Hero did.
This is how it works. You just get cycles of games that do this, and eventually, Assassin's Creed will just disappear because there's only so much people can be bothered with it. I mean, Metal Gear is probably coming up to that stage as well. But in terms of Metal Gear, at least it isn't one every year. Well, the games that have become annualised will eventually hit a brick wall.
Yeah, and they'll buy out.
And the problem is, I think Ubisoft are always trying to make a new IP because they do know eventually Assassin's Creed is going to die. I mean, whether Watch Dogs is that IP, I don't know.
Is it from them?
Ubisoft have made Watch Dogs, yeah.
Are we? Oh.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. I got the feeling it was very much Assassin's Creed. The Watch Dogs.
There's a vibe to it.
There's a very much Assassin's Creed vibe.
Yeah.
To it.
I think
Not just that, but the gameplay. Like, it's very much almost digitised, like he's in the Animus.
it is a bit, actually, yeah. That sort of way it does it in the hub menu. That maybe they're trying to replace Assassin's Creed with that, because Assassin's Creed, I can't see it lasting at that long. Assassin's Creed 4 will sell, Black Flag, probably the next one, but I think after that they're pushing it.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we should call that the end.
Yes, we've waited on quite a while.
Yeah, for a very long while. So, if you were listening, thank you. Cause
I think you might want to make use of the timestamps in this one.
Yeah. Probably. Other than that, there was no clear winner, as we say.
No.
So that's our sort of taking it. I know we did say, like, if we had to, like, choose one, it would be Microsoft, just simply because their conference was so much better than their previous attempts. And realistically, Sony's just was boring and standard. Nothing really new, nothing really game-changing, nothing really exciting.
And Nintendo's just a bit
And
of
Nintendo was
a
very
bit of an
small
update.
scale.
It was a bit of an update, really.
Yeah, it was just sort of like, oh, just keeping you informed, which was nice. But it was just like, this isn't E3 standard.
Well, Nintendo Direct has a different... It's now with Nintendo Direct, it's a different way of telling people what they want. And I'd rather have it that way, instead of just one big thing every year. Nintendo have got several.
Like, welcome to the new age.
Yeah.
To the new age.
We don't need...
New Matrix.
We don't need Ready to come on stage to wrestling music. We just need, incremental updates as the year goes on, and I much prefer them. And it sort of keeps the momentum going in terms of sort of the way they communicate to people. Whereas Sony, you just get and Microsoft as well, you just get the impression they don't really talk to anyone for a year. Come back and go, oh, hey guys, you still here? But I prefer the Nintendo Direct method, and I think we might see the other two do the same eventually. Because I think Nintendo Direct has worked for Nintendo, I think.
But I think we have reached the end.
Yes, before we talk about anything else.
Yeah, we keep generalising. But yeah, we've done enough generalising, we've done enough summarising. And I think that is the end of our special E3 podcast, episode 4 of AAM.
Yes, I think that's it. I think we'll just...
So we'll just leave it there. So I will say goodbye from me, Mark.
And bye from me, Andy.
Yay. There's always a pause.
I never know how to end it. Just sort of say,
we really don't know how to end it.
just sort of say bye, really. I think we should just cut it off.
Yeah, we should just be talking about something and then just like go like really abrupt, like